Greetings of the day. This is Vidhi Singh. I'll be serving as the host. So cool, guys. I think we're good to begin. It's time. I request the person to start sharing their screen. The screen share person could start sharing their screen. We shall wait until the screen is shared. You're welcome to state level competition conducted by Bal Education Trust. Next slide, please. Few lines about the NGO. We are based in Vapi, and we at Bal Education Trust work for the welfare of students since 2013. We raise funds every year through various activities to provide free education to needy and orphan children. And we run a preschool chain across Vapi. Our flagship fundraising event is National Debate Competition. Earlier, we used to conduct it in offline mode only in Gujarat, but now we have expanded it to online mode throughout the nation on a national level with the help of technology. The trust aims to provide every student national exposure from comfort of their home. Next slide, please. So we have judges for the day. Mr. Yasin Khan sir, who is TGT Science at LK Singhani Education Center, Rajasthan. And Archana Arora ma'am, who is lecturer English at Alhon Public School. Over to you, sir. You can give few words to the young audience.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. This is Yasim Khan, and today you give your best. All the best to everyone. Thank you, Vidhi, for inviting me. All the best to all the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us once again. Archana ma'am, are you there?
Yes, Vidhi. Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank Bal Education Trust for giving us this opportunity to interact with you and the students. And yes, all the best to all the participants. Be confident and express your opinion in the best possible manner. All the best, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Next slide, please. And I'm Vidhi Singh. I'm currently a final year undergraduate student at Lady Shri Ram College pursuing economics honors. Next slide, please. You know, the topic for the day and state level competition is media as an effective tool for influencing the society. Next slide. So rules and regulations. Every participant will be getting 2 minutes to present their topic, followed by a 5 minutes argumentation round in which your fellow audience, like your fellow candidates, can ask you questions, which would be moderated by the host. And any participant found misbehaving with judge or doing any mischievous activity would be disqualified. Participants must keep their webcam on, or else they'll be disqualified, at least when you're speaking and argumenting. When one participant is presenting his or her topic, no one else is allowed to interrupt. Official language for the competition would be English, and participants are not allowed to refer to their notes during competition. Next slide. This is general information. Every participant will get participation certificate, and the winner will get two certificates. And your certificates would be delivered. Participation certificates would be delivered in a week or via mail. So keep checking your spam and inbox folder. Next slide, please. This is the award and the marking criteria which would be followed by both the judges. So you can look up to it. Opening statements, language utilization, confidence level, closing statement, arguments, asking lame questions will be viewed negatively. Your content. So all these pointers would be taken into account while marking you out of 10. And staying away from the subject matter would also be viewed negatively. Let it be in your speech or in your arguments. Next slide, please. So, are there any doubts up till now in the rules and regulations? If
Yeah.
yes, you can please raise your hand. Yes, Saisha.
Thank Will counter rebuttals be allowed?
What?
Counter rebuttals, that is after you have asked a rebuttal
Okay,
question.
follow-ups. No, follow-ups won't be allowed.
Okay.
Because at one point, there are some times where there are like 7 to 8 people willing to ask questions. So in those circumstances, it would be unfair to give one person to chat 2 times a chance. Ansh, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask that, is there any negative marking for exceeding the time limit when we are speaking?
Of course, yes, it would be. It depends. Suppose you are exceeding it by 5 seconds. Suppose you started a sentence before the buzzer, right? You started a sentence before the buzzer. If you just complete that sentence and you are being overtimed, it would be fine. But if you started wholly new sentence after the buzzer is also buzzing, then it would be negatively marked.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Cool. So these are the cash prizes and the medals we hold for the winners. Winner would get medal and certificate of appreciation recognized by Bal Education Trust and a cash prize of 11,000 INR. First runner-up cash prize of 5,000 INR and second runner-up 2,500 INR. Next slide, please. So trophies are awaiting you. Next slide, please. And the national level debate competition would be held on 20th of July. And from every state, suppose there are 10 participants from her state of Uttar Pradesh, only one candidate would be selected according to their scores and would be promoted to national level. So the competition would be tough in that case. Next slide, please. This is our email, support@baleducationtrust.in if you need to contact us via mail. Next slide. This is an Instagram, Facebook handle @BalEducationTrust. Next slide, please. So cool, guys. Last time, are there any doubts? Saying not, we'll begin with the attendance. Yes, Birender Singh.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask that can we keep any page or notebook besides us to note the point of our opponents so that we can make a point in our rebuttal?
Yeah, you can do so.
Okay.
So we'll be taking attendance. Yashi Saini.
Present.
Bhavya Vipin.
Present.
Saisha.
Present.
Paridi.
Present.
Lavanya. Harshdeep.
Present.
Virinder.
Present.
Ritvika.
Present.
Dhruti. Sai,
Present.
Ruthi, Ansh,
Present.
Sanchita,
Present.
Kriti,
Present.
Vaishnavi, Aprajita,
Present, ma'am.
Yashi,
Present.
Yashi is present. Darshita,
Present.
Argun,
Present.
Ananka,
Present, ma'am.
Anisha,
Present.
Anu, Shubh,
Present.
Present.
Titishtha,
Present, ma'am.
thank you. Tisha, Puranjani,
Present, ma'am.
Ananya,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
I'm present. Vriti.
Who?
Hi.
Who is present? You need,
Hello,
okay.
ma'am. Vriti Rechamma.
Nidhi,
Vriti.
Dhriti, where have Dhruti?
On the line.
Vipul, no, Ananya, Vipul, Harshini,
Yes, present.
Anushri, Ankita, Pranay, Manat.
Present.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 students are absent, right? Cool, guys. So we'll begin now. I'll just drop this list in the chat box for your reference of order.
Excuse me, Vidhi, can you repeat the name of absentees?
F and what, sir?
Can you repeat the name of absentees?
Yes, cool, guys. We'll start with the debate and wait for the chat to be enabled. So we have Yashi Sani in favor of the motion. You may have the floor for the next 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Yashi Seni, and today I'm going to be presenting in favor of the motion. So we are going to begin this with the very infamous war of Russia and Ukraine. As you all know, Russia was the one who initiated the war. But in Russia, the citizens are persuaded by the media and shown, they're persuaded and shown that Ukraine was the one who initiated the war. Now, media is monitored by the Russian government. And guess what? The media was able to persuade its citizens. In China, the media is 24/7 monitored by the Communist Party. And whatever they want to show, they can. Definitely, they're not going to talk about democracy, or they're just putting some suicide band for themselves if they talk about democracy, because they are monitored by the communist government. The case is no different in India. In India also, the political party is, taking control over the media. You are being presented the narrative of the political party, and the media is supposed to, present the narrative of the people to the government, but instead it is the government who is brainwashing us. So you can see here that media is really efficient in brainwashing, not actually brainwashing, it is really efficient in persuading people. Now, I'd like to make something clear that I'm not talking about the negative influence or the positive influence or the negative efficiency or positive efficiency for that matter. I'm just talking about it being efficient to persuade people. And it really is through my examples. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Yashi? Please raise your hand. Harshini?
Hi, Ashi. That was a good speech that you gave. But one thing I was wondering is how you used media synonymously with journalism and propaganda. Isn't media not just limited to that, but overall, thing about social media and Instagram, Facebook, and not just limited to propaganda?
You're saying that media is not journalism, and media itself is not limited to propaganda. Are you saying that?
I'm saying media is not just limited to journalism or political arena, right?
So you are saying that it is limited to social media as well?
No, it is not limited to anything. It is a very generic term that is being given in the topic. So I heard only the political side of things, right? So I was wondering your views on that.
Yeah, I wanted to mention political side. It means that was actually intended.
How about the positive impact that it has given? Ukraine got more support because of media after what happened.
But media,
guys,
no. I'm saying
guys.
Yes,
Cool,
I'm
guys,
sorry.
no
I would like to
proceed.
make this clear that
Yashi?
the media
Yashi,
persuaded
no
people in
cross-questioning.
All right.
Yashi? No cross-questioning, Yashi and Harshini. So reason why there's no cross-questioning, Harshini, you were not required to clear her doubt. This is for everyone. Reason being, the judges are there to judge your level of perception of how you question and the person who's answering. You're not required to ask any question. Max you can ask is to paraphrase the question. Only that or two only once.
Apologies. Yeah.
Ashdeep Kaur, go ahead.
Yeah, so my doubt is that you said it is an efficient tool while it is having a lot of negative consequences too. Then how can you say it is efficient? Because efficient is something that works well.
All right. So I said it is an efficient tool since it is doing what the government wants and since it is being able to persuade people. Like it is making them change their view, their political view. That's why it is efficient. That's why it is working out.
Ritvika?
Yes, ma'am. So what I would like to ask is, you said that in India, media has been purchased by political parties, and that's absolutely true. But it's not that all of them are purchased, right? There are some independent news channels as well, and those are actually influence the public positively by giving them the proper information. So not all of them have been purchased, right? That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. But how many people watch those small media channels? The majority of people in India watch Aaj Tak, Aar Bharat and all that, which are sold to the government, and they are just monitored by the government. The small media channels, they are not watched by the masses. I'm talking about the masses here. I'm talking about the really influential and the media which holds the highest number of shares in passing down information.
Virender?
Yes, my question to Yashi would be like, you are mentioning back to back that media is monitored by government in India. However, how I would like to contradict the fact that India has certain amendments in its constitution that ensure the freedom of media. Media is monitored by government, but government cannot really change it, cannot influence the media. Media is independent in India, India is one of the largest democracies in the world that has an independent media.
Oh, really? Then why do you think that they are always, talking why BJP is the greatest party of all, why Mr. Modi has done so much greatness to the nation, while Congress is just bad. Congress has done nothing. Why do you think their decisions, their debates, their everything is so biased? Why do you think they have anti-opposition debates when you say that the government is not sold? Oh, sorry, the media is not sold.
Ma'am, can I answer to that?
Denied. Since we have less than 30 seconds, we'll go ahead with the next
Excuse me.
person. Yes.
Excuse me. Ma'am, actually, I just wanted to put a point that I'm really sorry to say that, but you took that 1 minute from her time. Can other participants please ask the questions for that 1 extra minute?
1 minute, which 1 minute, Ansh?
Vidhi, may I answer that?
Sure, ma'am.
Ansh, if you do remember, then the timer started late. After the first interjection question was already halfway through, timer started up. So if it started late, definitely when she is taking the decision that last 30 seconds, she cannot have the other question for the same contestant, definitely we'll go by that. You must remember, each participant must remember that someone who is acting as a chairperson here, that Miss Vidhi is the moderator for us. We have to go by what she says. If she says we stop here, it means we stop here. Even we as judges, we will go by her saying. So if she is asking us to speak up, we'll speak, otherwise no. So just keep that in mind.
No, I was just saying that if it's okay. Sorry, ma'am.
No, we understand your point, but then you have to look at the other point as well. If the timer started late, it means something has already been delayed.
No, my point was that if she was explaining something, the timer should have been stopped.
No. Timer won't be stopped. It means we are giving them, each contestant, more than 5 minutes. We are supposed to give each contestant 5 minutes, including question and answer session.
No, not the question and answer, but when Vidhi ma'am said, Vidhi ma'am was like,
she is supposed to intervene.
Okay,
if someone is interjecting again and again, you remember someone had asked the question in the beginning, rebuttal twice is allowed or not, and she had mentioned no follow-ups.
Yeah.
So no such thing. That's why she is taking the right decision.
Thank
yes,
you.
Vidhi, please continue.
Also, just a second. Apologies for interrupting, but do we get to know which side that we have to pick right before our name is announced?
Which side, Harshini? What do you mean by
I don't know. I don't know if I'm for or against the motion.
Okay, Vidhi, can you announce that as you call out their names?
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing so, and if the chat is enabled, I can drop it in the
I
chat.
have requested the same to Mr. Tejas as well. Right now, he's not the host. Someone else from the trust is the host. He has said he'll convey to the host.
Sure, ma'am, I'm announcing.
Okay.
Cool. We'll go ahead with the next participants. Bhavya Vipin will be speaking against the motion. You may have the floor for the next 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am, am I audible?
Loud and clear.
The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. And that's the power. Because whoever controls the media controls the mind. That is first defines some important concepts. Overexposure to media and dependency brings about negative tendencies in a person. It can be seen in the form of aggression, addiction, violence, mood swings, and even lack of empathy in a person. As a consequence, it is seen to be a negative tool for influencing the society. To begin with, people nowadays, in place of appreciating and embedding good traits of people, they tend to do comparison and get jealous, which leads to a sense of unhealthy competition. Sometimes they even indulge in putting down others or suffer from lack of self-esteem. Secondly, people unnecessarily spend a huge amount of time watching television, surfing the internet, or chatting with their friends. They spend most of the time sitting at one place while accessing media outlets. This results in lack of body movements, which is not good for one's physical fitness, and it leads to obesity and other types of elements in adults as well as youngsters. One of the most important drawbacks of media is the spreading of false information and rumors. Individuals who encounter false information on media actively spread it by sharing or otherwise engaging with it. The spread of false information can lead to misunderstanding and chaos to the people. As a final word, let me summarize my point of view. These were some undeniable and harsh disadvantages of the growth of media. Medical, social, and psychological issues are a few things that the media uses against us. Media causes a dissatisfaction with body image, creates addiction, and can destroy interpersonal relationships. So it is my assertion that media has a negative impact on people's lives and thus can be seen as an effective tool for influencing the society in a negative way. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have questions. No. Tish, I'm sorry. It's again and again popping up one after the other. I can't see consistent names. Anaika Patel, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible?
Little loud, please.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Cool.
Okay, thank you so much. I would just like to ask one question that the speaker that spoke just before me had stated the negative impacts of social media and had stated how it affects a person negatively. But whether the impact be positive or negative, it is considered as an influence, isn't it? And you were speaking against the motion, so I believe you were supposed to fight for the fact that media does not influence a person at all, not whether it does it positively or negatively. What would you like to say about it?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
Am I allowed to repeat, ma'am?
Please paraphrase and make it precise.
All right. What I'm saying is that since you are against the motion, you said that media negatively affects a person, right? But whether the effect be positive or negative, it is considered as influence. So, I mean,
yes, that is absolutely correct. The media is definitely, yes, it is a huge impact on the society. So I just presented the points in a negative way, like how is it influencing our lives?
Thank you. Ansh Yadav.
Okay, so I just want to say that you, while you were speaking, you were just onto telling the disadvantages disadvantages. But what you had to speak was against the motion, like how we are not affected and how we are like coping up without like getting influenced. So it was quite not clear, like what are you telling? Because you weren't speaking against the motion actually.
Ma'am, so actually at the time trying to say that my viewpoint for the topic was different than the intended one.
I just want to say that you weren't like debating in a way that media is an effective tool for influencing the society. You were just telling the disadvantages, and that's the same question that Anika was also asking.
Cool, guys. We'll go ahead with the next question. In that case, Tikisha.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Am I audible?
Please go ahead.
Ma'am, in your speech, you said that we are misinterpreting false information. Doesn't that mean that that is the correct information if you're misinterpreting false information?
Yeah, well, there are so many media outlets out there, which provide false information to people, and there are many naive people who understand it as the correct way, and they lead into misunderstanding and chaos to one another.
Thank you. Darshita.
Hi, so my question to you is that I absolutely agree that media does have various shortcomings, but don't you believe that it is also the media which broadens our horizons and introduces us to new concepts and ideas?
Yes, that is also very true. There are many positive aspects for what media is an influencing tool for a society can be seen in. But these were some, like you can say, harsh disadvantages or the negative influence of the media on our society.
We can have one by Tanu. Tanu.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, she told that in her speech that media influence us badly. Like it don't help us to show empathy towards them. How can you say that? Like for example, we all have watched the film Kashmir Files. It shows us the lives of the Kashmiri Pandits. And how can you say that it doesn't influence that if we don't feel empathy towards their condition?
Yes, that is absolutely true. But there are some, I'm sorry, what you said was that, could you please repeat your question, ma'am?
Like you said that media don't help us to show empathy. Like how can you say that? Because we all have seen movie The Kashmir Files. We all can say that we all feel empathy towards them, right?
All right, in that case, we'll go ahead with the next speaker. Before that, a small announcement. The list of the speakers and the order in which they'll speak was asked, and that won't be provided because Bal Education Trust team members have denied that it's against the rules. So you have to rely on my announcements only. Apart from that, guys, just for save of your time, you don't need to state candidate A. You stated that you are against the motion and you said so and so. That's irrelevant. Go to the main part. Since this happened, tell me how does your view, tell me what are your views on this. That's irrelevant to say, Abhishant, you said you are in favor of the motion, but that's all. It's wastage of time. We'll go ahead with Saisha.
Excuse me.
Great. So cool, guys. Kindly don't be much disruptive now. It's all judges marking would be fair enough.
Exactly. Everyone, you just relax. That's what I had been telling you earlier. You just go with your speeches, whatever you have prepared, answer your rebuttal questions with confidence. That's what is more important right now. Okay? Yeah. Go ahead. All the best again.
Saisha can go ahead.
Without a free and independent media, true democracy is unattainable, said Warren Christopher. Good afternoon. I will be speaking in support of the motion. Defining the motion, media is the primary means of mass communication, which covers everything from printed paper to digital data. I'm confident you'll concur that the media has truly helped influence society in a good way. Not only has it made possible the availability of information anytime, anywhere, but it has also given the audience a platform to voice their opinions. A current instance that is highly relevant during the pandemic, COVID-19 related news and information was spread across the world almost runtime through the media. This has helped immensely in building awareness and sensitizing the situation. It has helped people spread social precautions, knowing containment zones, etc. This was just not possible in the earlier widespread pandemic, the Spanish flu in 1918. The media was not as developed, so many people didn't have much access to information regarding this deadly disease. It was difficult for many to understand or follow the new social norms, leading to unrest. The media assists society in its quest for knowledge and study. Books fall under media, and we are all aware of their great influence in society, from fostering literacy to inculcating values. The media made us aware of topics like Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ movement, helping us break free from strict old ideas as we bring in the new world of fresh ideas. So, do you still believe that the media has not positively impacted society? I rest my case.
Thank you, Dhruti. Dhruti, you're mute.
Am I audible?
Yes.
You said that because the media is so developed now, many people got to know the norms and what to do and what not to do during the COVID pandemic. But even many people got panicked because of the news that they receive. And also, there were some superstitious news that were getting spreaded because of some news channels. So it even negatively impacted.
Thank you for your question, ma'am. You see, I stated that the media was not as developed in the earlier times because of the technological revolution. Now we can spread information twice as fast than we could do that back then. And when you stated that exaggerated news scare the people, sometimes don't you believe that exaggeration is important? So that because otherwise society will take the information lightly. An example would be in the Black Lives Matter movement. Because of their protests, many reforms and amendments were introduced into the government and offices. So don't you think exaggerations is also sometimes important? And when you said about rumors and superstitions, how long has a rumor truly lasted? I hope I answered your question.
Ashdeep Kaur.
Yeah, so my doubt is that you said that the media is developed already and so it has a lot of positive impact. Yeah, there may be, but the disadvantages have already overlooked it. Like the misuse of press and other media gave rise to so many agitations and strikes even during the pandemic. What is your opinion on that?
Thank you for your question, ma'am. You see, as I mentioned before, that media has developed a lot because of technological advancements being introduced in this field. You said that media has also negative impact on society. I believe that everything has a positive or negative side, and it is important to assess the weightage of both positive and negative influence. And when it comes to media, I think that the positive heavily outweighs the negative. It's just like medication. There will be side effects by taking medication, but isn't taking medication for the greater good of your own body? And also the positive impacts you cannot ignore. NGOs have reached people through the media itself. How else would they reach the people? I hope I answered your question.
Pariti.
Yeah. So the question I wanted to ask is, although there are many positive effects of media, it helped people during COVID pandemic. But we also know nowadays many reports are coming related to cyberbullying and unauthorized news headlines. So how can these be controlled?
Can you please elucidate on your question? My apologies.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to ask that although there are many positive effects of media, I completely agree with it. But nowadays there are increasing news of cyberbullying and cyber crimes and unauthorized news headlines. So if we are supporting media, so how can these things be controlled? Because these are also negatively impacting the society.
Thank you for your question, ma'am. You see, when it comes to cyberbullying and stuff, there are things such as censor boards that exist. And they take down all those posts which include bullying and stuff. So they don't really last long. And I suppose that was your question. So I hope I answered your question.
Abhishant.
Yeah, so my question is, you talked about the good effects of media on during the COVID-19 pandemic, but now recently when the vaccines were being rolled out, there were some people who were saying that the vaccines are bad, and they were, they were expressing their views through media, and and many people were getting affected by those news, and they were getting more scared and were more reluctant to take the vaccines due to the media in that point. So what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you for your question, sir. You see, when it came to vaccination drives, there were great apps which were introduced by the media to us. Take the COVID app, for example, which lets you know the availability of vaccines in your nearby areas. And when it came to reluctance of people taking vaccines, how many people do you know that haven't taken the vaccine here? And so, yeah. I believe that media has actually helped to promote vaccinations more.
Thank you. Next, we have Pariti against the motion. Go ahead now.
I hope I'm clearly audible.
Vidhi, can you just stop the timer? Pariti, sorry.
Yes.
All the candidates who are asking a question, it's a humble request. If you can phrase your questions in very concise manner, make them shorter. Because we have observed the candidate who is to answer it, he is taking a lot of time in understanding your question first and then answering. In that manner, I think Vidhi is facing a problem because many are raising their hands to ask a question and they aren't able to. Just try to do that. Frame your questions in such a manner they are very short and clear. So precise and very concise. Okay.
Yes, guys, you don't need to explain. Go ahead, Paridi.
I hope I'm clearly audible.
And again, you don't need to ask like audibility and everything. We'll tell you if you're inaudible.
Don't let media crush your optimism, as it loves the negative spin. Media is not at all a safe place. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, Pariti Srivastava from class 10th stand before you to present my views on the topic, media is an effective tool for influencing the society, but I am completely against this notion. The media has become an inseparable part of a society and the lives of citizens. From economy to entertainment, from politics to beauty, everything is now influenced by it. The media and its influential effect has increased exponentially since 5 past decades. But we are being negatively impacted by media and in the following ways. Firstly, media emphasizes glamour. It often exaggerates the basic facts and present to increase the superficial appeal of things. It emphasizes money and glamour aspects, film stars, role models, and successful people in various fields. Secondly, media leads to violence. Exposure to electronic media leads to the risk of children and adults behaving aggressively. Furthermore, cases of children acquiring weapons are one of the major negative impacts of media on society. Children get provoked by news stories, action games, and action movies. Thirdly, media promotes fake information. The unauthorized fake news headlines are one of the biggest reasons media negatively impacts the society. Controversial stories are printed with no reliance on whether it's a fact or not, and the public are meant to believe on everything they are told and not question it. Pressure of political party. The media comes under the pressure of a particular political party and publish everything in favor of that party. And that's actually not beneficial in a long run. It turns into an unhealthy competition among different voters. In a nutshell, media hurts people's life. It causes crime, violence, enmity, and causes bad addiction. I would like to conclude my arguments by saying that media is not an activity. It is an investment of a valuable time and resources. Therefore, it is better not to make excessive use of it. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Anshada.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask that, do you really feel that, for example, best of either terms, hashtag best of either terms, hashtag justice for Nirbhaya, all these things on the social media platforms aren't delivering the justice? You talked about the negative phases, but it is somewhere positive as well. It is like delivering the justice for the people who just can't imagine about it.
Yeah, thank you for the question. For this, I would like to say any coin has two sides, good and ugly. So you cannot have the good part of something without its bad. So that's why, although you're completely true that there are many positive effects, like actually they have helped people. These campaigns have helped people, but also there are many negative impacts too. So thank you. I hope I answered.
Shushmita. Shushmita. Seeing no response. Ritvika.
Yes, ma'am. So as you said, Paridi, that media is actually portraying the lives of film stars and all. I agree that people are comparing themselves with them, but that's up to the people, right? If I start comparing myself to Deepika Padukone, that's something which is my opinion, right? I'm comparing myself. Moreover, by portraying the lives of film stars, isn't the media actually inspiring us to follow our passion and take up our talents and do something? It's actually helping us out, right? And it's completely up to myself if I start comparing myself to someone.
Yeah, you're completely true that media is actually inspiring by showing or portraying the lives of various film stars. But also we see that they're overemphasizing it. Emphasizing it to a limit, it's all right. Okay, people are getting inspired, but overemphasizing them, it's not at all good. So I feel this.
Yashi? Yes. So I don't think so. It's the problem of the media. Whenever the media is trying to showcasing the truth, like it was showcasing the truth in Rwanda about their the food crisis going on there, but the government banned BBC for doing that. So it's the problem of the government. Whenever the news channels are trying to portray something credible, something real, the government always stops them, put a banner in front of them. So how is news not effective in that matter?
Thank you for a question. Yes, I completely agree with it that media sometimes shows something which is really useful for people and government put a ban. So like maybe it's the decision of the government also. Sometimes they may also feel that as we all know that government takes every decision by meetings, discussions and various discussions take place. So maybe there are some negative or some weak points which maybe the government doesn't want to show. And that may also come under the control when media is being controlled by the government. So that's why it may be that there may be some weak points.
Thank you, Anaika. Thank you, ma'am. Paridhi, I believe in your speech you had mentioned that as a negative impact of media, younger generation and small people, small kids are getting access to weapons. So can you specify how exactly media is resulting in that happening?
Yeah, thank you for a question. Yeah, I mentioned in my speech that media leads to violence as children are acquiring weapons. So by weapons, actually, I was trying to specify that violence part that media provokes children. You know, they play so many games, like there are many games, Free Fire and PUBG and all. So these are provoking violence in them, like they are behaving aggressively in home. And for if someone requests them something, so they reply very aggressively, oh, what is it? So that maybe their ego is getting affected. So in a way, I wanted to say that to them, they are actually acquiring their mental weapons like anger, ego, greediness. So that's
Tanu?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Faride, you told that political parties are pressurizing people. Can you elaborate how they are pressurizing us?
Thank you. I actually did not say that political party are pressurizing people. I actually talked about that political party is controlling media. Sometimes they want the media to put news or print news based on what they want in the favor of that party so that people give votes to them.
With this, we'll go ahead with the next speaker, Lavanya, in favor of the motion. Go ahead. Okay, Lavanya is absent, so we'll go ahead with the next speaker, Arshdeep Kaur, against the motion.
Can I start? Imagine this scenario. You wake up one day in a world without media. All the newspapers, magazines, radio, television, and internet on the planet just disappeared. How would your life be affected? Well, I feel that a world without media would be a better place to live because instead of a world full of hashtags, followers, and algorithms, people would understand the true importance of human connections and there would be no negativity. Hi, I'm Arshdeep Kaur. I'm a student of class 10 from Christ the King Convent School, Pathankot. The single most important thing I want to discuss with you all today is that whether media is an effective tool for influencing the society. Although media plays an important role in our society and is a part of our life, I feel that media has a lot of negative influences on the public, which is really harmful for them. Like, for example, most of the time we can notice that media serves as a means of propaganda for various political parties. And this creates negativity in the minds of the young audiences like us. We children are influenced by the media because it is spreading negativity all around. And apart from this, the media has also influenced many people really negativity, like people are being influenced totally by the media and they have lost their own opinion. They are just speaking what they have heard, and that's not the case. That's not the human behavior actually. We should not be influenced by something in such a way that we can't express our own opinion, and that's the negative consequence of media. So I would like to sum up my words by saying that media is not effective, because the word effective actually means producing the results that are intended. And this is not what we intend, right? So I would like to thank you. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. We'll have questions. Harshini.
Hi, Arshdeep. So one thing I realized is when you were talking about media not being required. So in this current fast-moving world, technology has exponentially advanced. Are you implying that whether or not media should stagnate while technology goes forward?
That's a very good question. Thank you, dear opponent. I don't mean to say that media is not required. I actually said that if there will be no media, the world would be a better place to live without all those negativities that are being spread around, as we all already know about that.
Sanchita.
Yeah, like, so my question is that she said that media is not all that giving the right news every time, and the people believe on that. So, like, don't you think even we are wrong when we believe on the news given by the media, and we like go and say it to other people without just crossing, like checking over and just doing some research on that news, and like even it's our fault if we are going and telling that fake news to everyone. So, like, I don't think that it's just about media. We are wrong in that case now. So, like, how can you say that the media is always wrong? And if it's a wrong news, and media is responsible for that?
Hey, dear opponent, I'm not saying that media is always wrong. I didn't say this statement at all in my speech. I'm saying that the people are being influenced by that. I'm not saying that it's an individual's fault. That's not right to say at
Yeah,
all.
but even
I'm
if the
saying
people,
that people
even
are
if
being
we are
influenced.
influenced, even if we are influenced by that wrong news, and it's our fault, now we should just cross over it.
No counter questions.
All right, we'll go ahead with the next questionnaire. Titishta.
Ma'am, my name is Titiksha, and you said in your speech that we would live a better life without the media and it will connect humans. How do you think you would find out about this debate if not for the media?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, that media is necessary in some cases. But I said that life would be better without media because it would not have all the negativity. Like many of us are already filled with negativity in us. I'm not saying individual opinion on that, but that's the totally general opinion. People are being influenced and negativity is being spread.
Thank you. Ankita Raswan.
So my question to you, according to your speech, is that you said that media is spreading negativity. How can you say that? Because if it is spreading negativity, it is up to us if we are allowing that negativity or not.
Yeah, I repeat my statement. As I already stated, I'm not saying about individually. That's actually generally. Like we all see arguments daily on televisions, and we all know that negativity is being spread. We may not be affected by that, but many people are being affected, and that's a totally general opinion. I'm not blaming anyone for that. I'm not blaming an individual for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have Virinder.
Yes, my question to Arshdeep was that she mentioned that people have lost their opinion through media and they speak in some other's voice, others' opinions. So, like, I would like to contradict that. Don't you know media is one of the largest platforms for opinion making?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. That people are being influenced by it so negatively that they have lost their own opinion. They are believing what is being told in the media, and I'm not talking about that side. I'm talking about the side of the general public.
Cool. Yansh Yadav. No response. Dhruti.
Sorry, I'm there. I just forgot to unmute myself. Yeah, my question is that, for example, one day media stagnates, according to you, where will the voice for people, for those victimized people, and while you spoke of like we are speaking the language of media, no, we are not speaking the language of media. We're speaking the language of our parents. Don't you really feel that?
Sorry, my dear opponent, I would like to contradict that statement. We are talking about media right now. So according to that, media is influencing very badly and it is not effective. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead with the next speaker. And before that, guys, please switch on your camera even when you are asking question or even when you are replying. Ritvika Bagchi will be giving her speech against the motion. Go ahead.
The newspaper, you're uninformed. And when you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. The media we get is mostly biased because it has been purchased by the rich with vested interests. Hence, the public gets only one-sided views on any topic. The media often creates red herrings to divert the attention of the public from more important topics to less important topics. The media tries its best to sensationalize even the most trivial events to increase its TRP. Trial by media has also become quite common. If we consider the cases of Aryan Khan and Riya Chakraborty, we would find out that the media started to raise questions on the very character of these individuals, which is totally against the ethics of journalism. Media can also be used to spread hate amongst the people, as in the case of Radio Rwanda. This radio channel sent out a broadcast encouraging the Hutus to kill the Tutsis, resulting in the mass murder of Tutsis. Social media apps and sites are designed in such a way that it manipulates the brain into staying on the app for a longer time, increasing addiction. This increased addiction has disrupted the sleeping cycles as well. It has impacted the lives of the students negatively. People are not able to balance between real life, and hence it has caused a negative impact on the people. Social media is the best place where you can share fake news. Mob lynching of innocents by getting carried away from rumors spread on internet has become quite common. Social media is a platform where people tend to compare their lives with fake lives portrayed on social media, and they start to feel insecure and go into depression. Social media has also increased cyber crimes, online harassment, stalking, and depression cases, and the list goes on. Hence, I would say mass media and social media go hand in hand to create a negative impact on the society. And here I rest my case.
Thank you. We'll have a question from Abhishant.
Yeah, so in the start of your speech, you told that the media has a one-sided view because it's bought by the rich. And I would disagree on that because there is numerous amount of media houses which share their own opinions. And there are many independent media houses which share the actual truth and facts and are not bought by the rich. So I would.
Yes, I totally agree to that. But frankly speaking, everyone wants their lives to be simpler, right? Do you have the time to find out which media is going to give me proper news? No, right? If all media channels were supposed to be unbiased, we would get news on our fingertips quickly. We don't have that time to do the research, and neither do we have the interest. So practically, it is not possible for us to invest time for just searching for news channels which will give us the right information. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Shushmita.
I would like to add that media not only constitute of TV channels but also newspapers.
Yes, I'm completely aware of the fact. Maybe I did not include it in my speech. Yes, newspapers. But don't you think the ones who write it, aren't they biased? Aren't the newspapers biased? Aren't the news printing, like the papers, aren't they purchased? They are, obviously, right?
Yashi.
So you said that social media and news go hand in hand. Actually, I'd like to say that in India, whatever you see on like famous or mass media, on those channels there's a lot of fake news, and on social media people like you and me correct them. People like you and me debate on them. People like you and me can express our opinions why it is wrong. Else where can we go and express it?
I would like to say on that during the pandemic, if you remember, there were many kind of fake news spread, right? You do this, you get cured of COVID-19. So it is not that so on social media we debate. Social media is also a platform where we can share fake news. For example, all these scams and scandals going on, sharing links. Where do we get these links from? Some social media, right? So social media and mass media both are responsible for fake news.
We'll have we had Harshini.
So you were talking about students going into the rabbit hole of spending too much time in the apps. Now, when we're talking about media, it's not a non-profit thing that's going on, right? It's basically in the end a sort of marketing and advertising, right? So isn't it natural for these companies to make customers be drawn into what they're doing?
This is true. Practically, it is true. But idealistically, this should not be done. Idealistically, the app should not be made in such a way, and the people should not go like the people should not be addicted to this sites. But practically, everybody looks at their profit at the end of the day. So your point is valid, but I would say, but still, people should have some moral values left, right? So if the app makers could, make the app in such a way that it increases reduces addiction. Plus, the students also have to learn how to balance between real and real life. So your point is actually valid.
Thank you. Tanu? Tanu?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you have said that the social
Ma'am,
media
your camera,
media has
please.
changed the student's life and it has like destroyed our lives. But- Sorry, am I
Yes,
audible?
it would be great if you could turn on your camera, please. It was announced previously, like it's been a lot of time now. Great.
Yes. I was asking that you have told that the social media has changed our lives, basically, especially the students' life. But how can we forget about pandemic, where media?
Yes, on that note, I would say to some extent, media did give us proper news, but don't you think the media took the COVID-19 situation into a whole new level? I mean, rather than giving us the proper news, they were going here and there, diverting our attention, and they sensationalized the entire thing. And yes, we are getting affected by social media as well because of the real life thingy going on. And that's what I could hear from your question, for your voice was breaking. My apologies. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have the next speech from Dhruti in favor of the motion. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kriti Techama from grade 10, St. Rita's High School, Bangalore. In my views, the media influences so many people's behavior nowadays. Information can be spread after a few clicks of a button, whether it is true, false, speculation, or gossip. The media can also manipulate, influence, persuade, and pressurize society, along with even controlling the world at times, in both positive and negative ways, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Controversial stories are posted and reported without a reliance of it being true or not. And with it being so easy to say a certain opinion, whether it is true or not, it can lead to it can lead to investigations and front page headlines. The public is also meant to believe everything they're told and not question anything. According to the Global Web Index, 54% of daily media time is online. And also, on a typical day, 12% of online people watch online TV, 12% of people listen to the online radio, 10% of people read the online press, 13% of people do microblogging, 28% of people use social media, and 26% of people do miscellaneous things. So this means that there is constant access to the news and the ongoings in the world, thanks to the aids that we get from the links through social media. Media can also influence the way a person is viewed, and it also can change a person's career in a flash. I would like to conclude by telling that media has an impact. Media influences the society both negatively and positively. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have questions now. Virender Singh.
Yes, Jyoti, you talked about the percentages, stats, and all in your speech. So I would like to ask that how would these matter to your topic? And you are talking in the opinion of in the favor. So how would these matter? These percentages and these stats that how much is being used upon?
I also mentioned in my speech that there is constant access of media. That's why I told the percentage and all the stats. Because there is constant access to media through links from social media, we get more information. Thank you.
Haridhi.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask that you told that media influences people and their behavior it affects behavior perceptions. But what if media brainwashes negatively their mind? Means they tell something which negatively impacts their mind. So that in that way it's not good, na, that they are negatively means they are taking them to a negative direction. So what would you like to say on it?
Thank you for your question. I would like to answer by telling that people can actually understand what is fake, what is true. They can understand as I said, they cannot easily get brainwashed unless they're illiterate. So people are not that dumb to easily get brainwashed.
Thank you. We'll have Ansh.
Yeah. Okay, so my question to you is that, for example, let's say you wake up one day and your result has to come. Okay, you've given your CLAT exam and your result has to come, and someone on the media says that result will not be declared today. So will you actually like blindfoldedly believe it?
I wouldn't believe it if it was only told by one news site or only by one media or by only one channel.
Thank you. Shushmita. Shushmita, you need to be proactive. Since seeing no questions. Yashi.
So just now, you mentioned that people are not that dumb to believe in fake news. You know that USA has a really nice literacy rate. Still, from India, from Kolkata, basically, there are millions of scams which are held, and they earn a lot from the citizens over there. Also, one more example I'd like to give you for that. There was one email which was circulated to millions of people in India, and it said that you would win 50 crores if you could just make a minimum deposit of 500 rupees. And guess what? People lost collectively. People lost 650 crore rupees in it. And if it is so easy to persuade people in India, why won't the media persuade and spread misinformation in order to make a certain party win? It is really easy to persuade people.
You told that it is easy to persuade people, and people can easily get scammed. And there are emails that go to people saying that if you deposit this much, you can win a prize. But there are also some news headlines. There are some news that tells us that there are some news headlines that also tells us that there are such scams happening. So we at least have the awareness not to believe. We get news that there are scams happening, there are scandals. So we at least know that this can be fake. We have that awareness.
But they can still persuade for voting for BJP.
Yeah, so Dhruti, I'm not wasting any time. I am just talking about the unfortunate wording there, right? You mentioned about illiterate people who are dumb or something like that. Illiterate is something that cannot be applied to this situation, right? Because they can't read or write, and media won't be applicable that way, a majority of it, to what they're listening, what they're hearing.
They can't read or write, but they can listen to the news. And they can even get news from people around them.
Thank you. We'll go ahead with the next participant. Sai will be giving speech against the motion. Go ahead.
Good afternoon to everyone gathered here. I am Sai Manaswini Mantha, a student of St. Mira's High School BTM branch studying in grade 10. Today, I will be speaking about the topic, Media as an effective tool for influencing the society. Media and its influential effect on people has increased exponentially in the past 5 decades. Initially, media was only restricted, the news channels and all were only limited to the telegraph, that was the short messages. But with the technological innovations and inventions, media has found a way to reach to the masses. That was through radios, magazines, newspapers, and now mobile apps. Media has become an inseparable part of our lives, which is why it is necessary for us to understand the impact it has on our lives. From economy to entertainment and from beauty to politics, everything is now being controlled by media. But does this mean that media only influences people negatively? So the unauthorized news headlines and these all may lead people to crime, poverty, bad mental and physical health. So again, I put forward my question. Does this all mean that media only influences people negatively? Absolutely not. There are also situations where media helped people in a positive way. Few of the examples could be that it helps people connect across various geographies and it builds relationships and it empowers businesses to boost their revenues and build their audience reach. And it also helps people learn and grow on the move wherever and whenever they are free. And last but not least, it helps create awareness in every nook and corner of the world. Now, I would like to conclude by saying that we as individuals need to understand and be responsible of what kind of news we consume and how we react or respond to it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have questions now from Tanu.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Shalini, you said that media helps us to connect with far places. You might have heard about the situation in Rajasthan that people that from one man from the Udaipur was murdered by two people, and it was found that they have connections with the Pakistan. So, what would you tell about this? That how media is helpful in this connection?
Okay, so just the way each story has both positive and negative side, the media also has a positive and negative side, as I mentioned already in my speech. So when it can also help terrorists or when it can also help the bad people to get connections with people from different kind of areas, why can't it help us to connect with our families far away? So when you want to take a topic to be in the negative form, you can also consider that. But in my view, in this case, it would actually help people connect with people various in geographies. Some of my cousins might say stay far away, so I can connect through them just because of media, and I wouldn't have to miss out on any kind of family relations. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have Birinder.
Yeah, you talked about unauthorized news channels and headlines. So, why would one refer to these? Why wouldn't one refer to the authorized ones? Like you can see that authorized are given to these days. The authorized news channels are giving news about the unauthorized ones. So, what would be the condition that one is referring to the unauthorized and having a negative impact on his mental and physical, all that?
Okay, so I would like to say that it is not always true that a channel or a source is authentic. Sometimes it might also be that the news people, they just want to get more of their television rating points, which is why they put forward the points which can bring more attention towards their channel, which is why sometimes it also affects the harms and it also harms the beliefs of people. So I think I answered your question.
Thank you, Ansh.
I wanted to ask that when something is non-credible, we trust it more than when something is credible. For example, you said we can build relationships. So when I talk about relationships on social medias, I find more girls on social media platforms than in real life, right? So how do you really feel that credibility is something that like social media has? No, it doesn't has, right?
So it does. So sometimes when you are like, again, I would like to bring forth my point about media being both positive and negative. Sometimes, if you're talking about girls and all, I think you're mentioning about the dating sites or something. So for those kind of things, mostly they might be true because not everyone wants to be fake and finding in a partner. But if you're talking about the actual social media, like in Instagram and Facebook, it might also be true that people have fake identities. So that way you cannot put your full trust into a person without actually knowing them. Thank you.
Harshini?
I think the point about girls made by Ansh has caused quite reaction among everybody. And Shalini, you mentioned something about, choosing what you want to take from social media, right? While you have a neutral stance, I think you're also quite defending yourself after a lot of negative questions. I want to ask, which do you think is having a bigger mark on the paper? Is it the negative part or the positive part?
So I would like to say that again, I would like to bring the same point because, to be honest, any object or any interface you take in your life, any situation, everything has both positive and negative side. So even if you take this slightest or the smallest situation to the huge big one, so whatever it might be both positive and negative. And in this situation or the situation we got in our last debate, internet and the COVID, everything has both good and the bad sides. So even for this, I would like to say that media is helping people in many ways, like connecting through people. It empowers small businesses and all. But with each point we also get a negative point for it. So I would like to say that we do not need much more technological advancements, or we do not need more technology or more media in our lives for the advancement of human life, because we need to be in real life experience. We need to have connections with real life people. And I think that just makes it like media is being more into the negative side rather than the positive side. I think I answered your question. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead with the next speaker.
Ma'am, and I also want to add on that my name is not Shalini Vijay Kumar. It's the school email ID I'm using. My name is Manaswini. Thank you.
Okay, Sai Manaswani, yeah. Kruti is next speaker in favor of the motion. Go ahead.
A pleasant evening to all present. I am Kruti S of 10th ACSC from St. Mira's Janagar. Today's topic is about media is an effective tool for influencing the society. I totally agree with that, as we know that communication and information technology has changed rapidly over the past 20 years. With the key of development being the media, it plays an important role to connect people all over the globe at one place and even at a time. Compared to other media, the influence of social media is a widely used platform. Like media can compare people without even knowing their actual status. Media improves their levels. They put the means to connect people all over the globe. Media allows every common man or a woman to be self-promotive, self-shaping in the world without any borders. Nowadays, to the advancement of media, I can share my message in a fraction of seconds with the help of my messages. But this was a fantasy 20 years ago. Media created the ultimate reality version, which was a fairy tale world to the marketing industries. Communication and technology has put forward their measures in the media. Media makes the public aware about what's happening around the globe. It puts the means to connect people all over the globe at one place and also shape their opinions on that. Media also provides a lot of information related to politics, science, technology, local news, national news, international news, as well as many other entertainmental news related to fashion and movies. Before I conclude, I would add that a great personality named McLuhan, who was a fixer in the discovery of media, quoted a line that media should improve our life and not become our life. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? We'll have Birinder.
Well, you mentioned that media improves the level of people. Can you elaborate on the statement?
Say it again.
Sorry,
What was your question?
I am asking that in your debate, in your speech, you mentioned that media improves the level of people. Can you elaborate on it?
Media, like people when they get used to media, they get they used to face the each every day like news they get recorded to those, and they can get updates about what's happening around the globe.
Thank you. Pariti Srivastav.
So I wanted to ask that you said media provides information. Media provides information about the politics. But what if media provides information only about one side of something and not both the sides? How can people get complete information about something?
Of course, media does not provide only one side information, it provides public opinions too.
Abhishant.
Yeah, so my question is that you said that media should not become the person's life, and I think that is very much common because at this point I don't think anybody is that not unsensible to be in media all the time, and there are many people who keep on saying this, and parents and friends will also advise this only. So I don't think it is a real thing that people will be in media all the time. So I would like your thoughts on this.
Like I would say that media is just a mean to connect people from all over the world, and it isn't a complete world.
Thank you. Tisha Bhandari.
So my question is, do you remember the situation during the COVID-19 where the COVID patients deaths were increasing and media had a very much content for that, and they actually make such news which were actually depressing the viewers. How do you describe that?
Of course, I would say that because of media, we came to know that a virus has been spreading. Without a media, we could not found out that. And of course, it would have a drawbacks a lot during the COVID because they would make it for the news channels to get popularities. But there is a lot of advantages through the COVID, through which we came to know about the new rules we have to follow like that. We can use it in a positive manner too.
Saisha.
Ma'am, in your speech, you mentioned that information provided by the media helps people shape opinions. But it is the same media, especially social media, which provides unfiltered information. And it is this unfiltered information that shapes people's opinions and can lead to various forms of aggressions like riots and inculcate herd mentality in people. An example would be that of the Agnipath scheme riot. So, how can you justify that?
Because it's not only about the media which connect people, but also if you don't have a media, also it doesn't make a matter of that. It's like just the same to same, of hand to hand. We have the same opinion even without media.
Ansh.
So my question is like media is something which forgets to prioritize what to prioritize and what not to. For example, nowadays, even when you talk about people, they are living in real life, not real life, right? So, and as you mentioned in a comment, we cannot change someone, like we cannot tell someone to do something really, because if they want to follow that real life, they will. So how do you believe that media is not influencing us? It does.
I also quoted a line that media should help us in our life and not become our life. That's simple.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll go ahead with the next candidate. Ansh Yadav will be giving speech against the motion. Go ahead.
Just a sec. Just a second. Okay. Epictetus rightly said, and I quote, "The philosophy lie between two words, sustain and abstain." Greetings to one and all present here. I, Anshadav, stand against the motion. Media is an effective tool to influence the people. The world surely succumbs to the temptations, but gradually learn to sustain and abstain from the vices of society, one of them being so-called effective tool known as media. There have been numerous cases wherein we heard that media is not authentic at all. Documents in offices, plagiarized contents in blogs, debates on news channels or scripted shows on televisions, etc. Authenticity is one of the strongest pillars which media couldn't build till date, right? Secondly, the trust. No one till date fully rely on media for the information. Remember, the pop-up message of your cell phone about the CBSE result being declared on one. No one really puts their confidence in that. You and I all wait for CBSE official statement. Going from news channels to newspapers to Google, etc., for collecting information, and yet having so many doubts, right? Is that an effective media which leaves you behind with more bewilderness? Last but not the least, those exasperated and depressed children by lockdowns. Have some thought about them, and you'll straight away be directed towards the importance of humanly touch and conversation in person. And hence, I rest my case by saying that any media is not reliable, as comforting, as authentic, and as effective as people around us and the relations that we are tethered with. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritvika. Bagchi.
Yes, so Ansh, I would like to say that you said that we all wait for the authentic CBSE site to release the results, right? I totally agree to that. But from where is the CBSE actually releasing results? Isn't it on internet? Isn't internet a part of media? So aren't we at the end of the day getting news from media? Even though half of the media is not authentic, I completely agree to that. But finally, we're getting it from an authentic media source. So what do you have to say on that?
The point is about influence. We are not getting influenced by something here. We are getting a source of information. That's it. That's what I was mentioning here. Please, thank you. I hope I answered your question.
We'll have Yashi. Yashi, say.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you. Dear opponent, I would like to ask you that you said that people around you, we should rely more on the people around us for the information. Do you really think that people around us are the really one from whom we should collect information? Like, I think, in my opinion, they are the biggest source of misinformation.
I would really like to requote my sentence. What I said was, I rest my case by saying that any media is not as reliable, as comforting, as authentic, and as effective as people around us and the relations we are tethered with. So here, what I wanted to talk about was that there is a humanly touch that we need to have, because we saw this case in the COVID-19 lockdown, that like, for example, when you saw those depressed people, that was not because of the people were not saying them to like sit in the like, they were not kind of coming in front of you and like getting you depressed. It was the media. People were trolling you there, right? It was on the social media platform. That's why you were getting depressed. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Mannat Kohli.
Yeah, my question to you is that don't you think that those exasperated and depressed kids that you just mentioned, they somehow got more aware about mental health issues with the help of media during the lockdown?
Okay, so here you're kind of trying to contradict my point. Of course, they did get to know about this, the kind of diseases or the ailments that they are suffering with, but they're also getting that ailment from them. Eyesight problem. You're getting depressed because you're using that social media in such an extent, and those people are trolling you by and day, right? And then secondly, how do you know that to what an extent are you kind of suffering from the ailment? Google is something that doesn't sense, right, the intensity of your ailment, so you cannot fully rely on it. Thank you.
Swara Vedak.
Hi, you mentioned that it is often that reality TV shows are not often actually real, and it is all just scripted. When we all know that is all just scripted, then how is it actually influencing people to do anything?
Okay, I'll just tell you something. That, for example, if you're watching a cartoon, for example, you're watching that there is one very famous cartoon, this and uh, and and there happens something like, for example, a cartoon is riding a bicycle and it's performing a stunt. So there is a headline that please do not perform this in this stunt, right? Because those children are so immature, they do not have a sense that, like, if they will perform this without the guidance of people, they will get hurt. That's why we say that it's scripted and we somehow try to get manipulated. When you see Khatro Ke Khiladi, right, you try to do all those things. When you see for example, there is when you binge watch on Netflix, you try to imitate that life on your own self. So isn't that influential for you?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anaika Pathak.
Thank you. Anshu just mentioned that, am I audible?
Yeah,
You just mentioned that you answered actually, and you mentioned that during the COVID pandemic, the news channels, whatever they were portraying was having, it had a heavy toll on all the students. But don't you think that the media channels were just giving you statistics, and if you are getting affected by it and you don't have any means to recover, I think you are responsible for staying away from it because you know better what affects you and how it does.
Will I answer the question or I can skip?
You can take 15 seconds.
All right. So here I just wanted to say that not everyone is in class 11th or 12th to be so mature to understand what to actually take on your heart and mind and what not to. People are there who just don't have any idea, who blank out in front of people, in front of media, in front of everyone. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have next speaker as Sanjita in favor of the motion. Go ahead.
Okay. So our topic is media as an effective tool for influencing the society, and I completely agree to this point. And I think and I believe that media is having a lot of positive impact in society. Like if you say, like, if there's a pandemic or if there's a natural disaster, so media is the one who influence people who, like, just because of media we get to know about everything, and it spreads, and encourages the humanity and empathy so that the people who come forward to help the needy ones. And even if media is delivering any fake news or any like wrong news, then I think we should be the one to just cross check over it, and we should be the one to research about it before transferring it to other people, right? And I do think that the main positive impact of media is the right to information, because media is a platform where you can gather information about everything. And like being a citizen of the country, you should know, and you do have the right to know about each and every information, and you do have the right to just know what is happening around the world. Of course, I do think that media is having a lot of positive impacts, and like, even if we talk about today's generation, today is much more, like, people are much more educated and much more aware of their rights, and which helps them to gain various personal and professional benefits. And that's because of social media during the pandemic. And like during the pandemic, because of the internet, we were the one who were like being able to educate it. Like, we were not stopped from our studies or anything else. Like, we were being able to get online classes and everything. So I do think even social media has a positive impact. Like, I'm not saying that it doesn't have a negative, but I think it has more positive ones. Like, without social media, life would not be a better one. And like, I will conclude that a free and independent media would be essential to ensure democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for her? We'll have Yashi Sani.
Yeah, all right. So you mentioned that social media has mostly positive effect on people. About that, yeah. So I'm going to present a scenario. For example, you like Nike shoes. So you are going to watch some videos related to Nike shoes, like why are they so good? Why are they like that? You will never know about the other companies. Say Adidas, you will be like, Adidas shoes are not good, because your recommendations will be modified that way. The algorithm will know that you like Nike shoes, and that's why you will be shown Nike stuff. Same in debates and in general view, you will be shown one proactive view, and because of that you will be like, oh, this is true and the other side is totally wrong. You can never know the other side of something because of social media. So how can it have a positive impact when recommendations are just what you like? You can never know on the other side.
No, but I think it depends on me. Like if I'm talking about something like you told about the brand, if I'm only like towards Nike and I'm not towards Adidas, it's like it's my wish. Now it's not about people recommendations. I'll try both. And if my own family members are using Adidas and they're saying it's not, but then it won't be now. Like I would like to know about both these sides. I won't go only on one side.
Shushmita?
I'd like to add that I would like to add that many social media topics are not suitable for children's. Can you just repeat your question? Many social media topics are not suitable for a child to explore. Yeah, I do agree with that point, but even it depends. Like if it's a scene of 18 plus, and if you are doing that, that's not right. It depends on you, na? Like what do you want to say and what do you want to? It depends on the person who is under control and out of control.
We'll have Harshini.
Hi, Sanchita. While I do agree with most of your points, you mentioned something about right to information, right? Us deserving the right to get everybody's opinions. Sometimes when we do have the right, we also get unwanted opinions, unwanted comments on who we are and what we have to think, right? Isn't that some unnecessary hatred or online bullying that we get? And what do you think of that side of information that we get?
Yeah, I do agree with that point that we do get hated comments and the wrong comments about us that we are this, we are that, and like people don't like us. I can't say that everyone will like everyone, right? So it's just upon you. Like if you're a positive person, you directly ignore those, right? Like you won't be depressed or you won't be thinking about it every time that oh that guy has said me this and or he or she has commented something on anything which is related to you. So it's just about your state of mind, what you think. If you can ignore it, it's better now. Then your life won't be affected, your mind won't be affected. It's better to ignore those people, I think.
Hargun Kaur?
You stated a point that media helps to increase the empathy and the humanity among people. Empathy and humanity are human traits, and I don't think human traits are embedded in us by the media. What are your thoughts on this?
So for an incident, like if there's a road accident, and like you only see that people are surrounded by that incident, they're recording those video and they're uploading it on social media rather than going and helping that person. So is it completely humanity? No, it is not. Humanity is something where you see something which is happening wrong, and you go and help to the needy people rather than recording and uploading it on social media.
Mannat Kohli?
I'm sorry, I forgot to lower my hand after I asked the people.
Saisha?
Ma'am, in your speech, your prime focus was that whatever the news spread on social media is, it depends on the person how to react to it. But some people can be extremists, and everyone has a right to express themselves. And these extremist opinions can take a toll on society as a whole, and has a very wrong influence. An example would be the comments passed by BJP leader Nupur Sharma, the anti-Muslim ones. They were indefensible, but so were the death threats passed on social media. So these two wrongs do not make a right, and this extremism is also a very bad thing done by social media. So how is it really influencing society in a good way?
Like I didn't say that it's completely right. There are some negative impacts too. I can't say that it is just I can't say that I don't support like it's only positive. But from my side, I think it is indeed, but it depends on others' opinions too. Like if for you if it's negative, I can't change your opinion, right?
We'll have Dhruti.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but there's this thing which is clicking in my mind. This timer is not
Yeah,
moving.
I know timer is stuck. I observed like she still has 20 to 30 seconds left.
Okay.
So no issues in that case. We won't entertain any questions. Could the host start sharing their screen? I guess he left. So what we'll do is we'll go on. Kriti Vyas will speak against the motion. What I'll do is I'll ask you to stop. I'll time you until the host rejoins. So Kriti Vyas, you can start.
Greetings to everyone. Today I'm here to express my views against the motion. We all have been witnesses in recent years to rapid and unprecedented changes in our society, economy, and polity. And these have also transformed our Indian mass media services. However, the growth in its reach, scale, and influence has not been matched by the corresponding sensitivity towards non commercial and non market dimensions. Someone has truly said, life has become like a media. People will like your problems and comment on them, but no one will solve them. You know why? Because everyone's busy updating theirs. All stakeholders must realize that the ethical underpinning of professional journalism in the country has been weakened, and this needs to be answered. This aspect is of relevance because media is considered to be the fourth estate of democracy. It plays a major role in informing the public and thereby shape public perceptions. Gandhiji, a journalist himself, cautioned that an uncontrolled pen serves but to destroy. One of the basic tasks of media is to provide truthful and objective information to the people. But is the media truly doing its job? Rather, it is often seen twisting facts. One day, a leading English newspaper published on its front page the photograph of Justice Gyansudha Mishra, captioning, Supreme Court judge says that her daughters are liabilities. However, the reality was far from behind what was portrayed. Supreme Court judges have to disclose their assets and liabilities. Under the liabilities column, Justice Mishra had written 2 daughters to be married. She never intended and never wanted to say that her daughters were liabilities to her. The news was false and defamatory, with an obvious intention to create a sensation among all. Another issue is with the portrayal of non-issues as real issues, while the real issues are often sidelined. I would like to end my string of thoughts by saying that the media needs to hold tightly to its ethical values and thereby shape public opinions accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Ritvika Bagchi.
Yes, so you mentioned that, what do you say? I'm sorry for taking up the time. I'm sorry, I forgot my point.
Harshini.
Hi, you mentioned something about sidelining of important news, right? What do you define important news as? And give me an example of an important news that has been sidelined right now. Thank you.
All right. By saying that the important news is are sidelined, I believe that many times the bulk of the coverage of the newspapers, of the medias, of news channels, it goes in showing the lives of Bollywood stars, pop music, singers, and all related, something which is not related to what is going on right now. However, I believe that media does show sometimes the issues of the farmers' issues or the rise in the price of essential commodities. But that I believe goes at least only 5 to 10%. And the bulk of the coverage goes in portraying the non-issues, which are non-real.
Thank you. We'll have Abhishant.
Yeah, so you gave that example about the Supreme Court judge. And so I think the general public will be aware that that is not true information, as people have a general understanding that to be a Supreme Court judge, you need to have some sort of literacy. And if the media house is saying that, does not mean it is true. So they will not directly go and share it with them, or they will try to research more on that. So I would like it.
Thank you for the question. I would like to say that not everybody is that much generous, and that what people tend to do is they, even if they're not educated, they tend to read newspapers. Everybody read newspapers, and when they read them, they just tend to think that it is real, it is true, and that my example, it portrays that the Indian judicial system has been disturbed, it's destroyed, and people tend to imagine that, they tend to think that, and that happens. Everybody not goes and do the research work or see whether the news is true or false.
Thank you. We'll have Ritvika now.
Yes, I'm so sorry for earlier. Now, you said that about the justice thing, right? The English newspaper portrayed something exactly which is different from reality. But if you see, everybody looks at their profit at the end of the day, right? And media, news channels will try to increase the TRP. So they will try to give things which the public will actually see. And nowadays, most of us don't look at news as something which is news. We look at it as a source of entertainment. So media will try its best to give us something which we like, that is entertainment. So whether it be a serious issue, they'll convert it into a serial of Saas Bahu and then they'll give it to us because the public wants to see that. So actually, I would say the media does not have any role to play here. The media is doing, it's actually not doing its job. Idealistically, it should not be worried about its TRP. But practically, it's not possible. Everybody likes their profit. So the public has to change its attitude, right? And not the media.
So if profit making involves disrupting the image of a Supreme Court judge or of the judicial system of India, I would say that would not be considered as a good entertainment. There are many more sources of entertainment which people can look into, and I don't feel that media should use such news and should tell such false and defamatory news in order for just TRP and entertainment of people. I don't think so.
We'll have Birinder.
Yeah, you just earlier you mentioned a point that Indian judicial system has been destroyed by media. So how can you say that one of the strongest judicial systems in the world has been destroyed by media, or has been its judgments has been influenced by media? How can you say that?
All right. I did not say that media influences the judgments of the Supreme Courts or any courts of India. What I meant to say that by portraying that Justice Mishra said that her daughters are liabilities, the media is trying to portray that the Indian judicial system is not good. It's trying to portray that it is all disrupted, it is not nice, and it is not saying that, I'm not saying that it influences the decisions of the Supreme Court, but yeah, it is disturbing and disrupting the image of the Supreme Court. That's what I meant.
Thank you. We'll have the next person, Aparajita, against the motion. Go ahead.
Very good evening, everyone present here. This is a writing representing CMS, and I'm really true with the statement. Media has always played an important role in society for a long time. Media has been one of the method of controlling and ruling over peoples. But overexposure to media and dependency brings about a negative tendency in a person. It can seen in the form of addiction, development of aggression, violence, and moods, lack of empathy in a person. If you relate these signs, then you must know that media is overpowering you. Then you should take steps to achieve balance on life. Reduce your media exposure and divert your attention to other activities. A sense of unhealthy competition, comparison, competition with self and other unhealthy things encourage improving internally and externally. However, these days, in place of appreciating and imbibing of people, they tend to do comparisons and get jealous of them. Sometimes they will indulge the putting down, others in suffer lack of self-esteem. Most people are seen to live in fake life rather than reality. They crave for attention, like, followers, comment, etc. to feel important. Increase of violence like violent game, watching scary videos, click on lines, always make you violent about that. Teenagers spend countless hours throughout the day watching such violent series, scenes, and make teenagers not able to difference between the fantasy and reality. They all live in a fantasyful world, and this is very bad. And these days, it always goes a violent nature and aggressive nature about one society from another society. The recent case about Nupu Sharma is the same example. Like there's a hateness developed for another society from the one society. This is what media is doing, according to me, and this is how it is.
Thank you. We'll have Ansh Yadav.
So you said that media is promoting these games. Okay, so now we know there's a virtual world wherein games are the future of our lives. Okay, so for example, if you are blaming media for it, Blue Whale was the one which media asked the government to ban. Okay, so first thing you need to answer, and secondly is what, like for example, there have been games like Valorant, then PUBG. They are the future of our right future will provide the employment to the people, right? Because they are becoming the future. You should for that you need to read the news, right?
What here I want to say is that media is only influencing these things. The advertisement for Blue Whale and PUBG is only media is doing, right? They only influence about the game.
Yashi Saini.
Yeah, so in the beginning of your speech, you mentioned that media influences us negatively. It is us who is just influenced to negative news. For example, if the media showcased positive news, then we would never watch it. We would never go on that news channel, because it's not our fault that we are attracted to negative news. It's just that it has been passed down from our ancestors to us. And if we just if we are being if we are watching positive news, then we are not getting that entertainment from it, and from that positive news we will not watch it because it's not entertaining, and the media platforms will just stop earning because it is not attractive enough.
I actually agree with your point, but the thing over here is negative things always um give a hard impact on you. Like that Nupu Sharma case has a very hard impact that people used to discriminate between the religion in a democratic country. That is what something very huge and hard impact on the both of the society of Hindu and Muslim. But a positive news does not get such hard impact.
Harshini.
Hi, I hear a lot of controversial statements, right? So, listening, I mean, recalling what your speech was about, one thing I've written down is you were talking more about the users and their actions and their effects, right? I don't see how media is just being a medium here, right? Your thing was more about what the users were doing and the feedback that they got while using media. So I just wanted to clarify on what you actually meant by the whole speech.
What here meant was like source is the only thing for the action. The source only provide what will happen. Okay. Now if media is influencing you to do bad, like bad things are getting in your mind and you will do bad. The media is the only source for your bad work and your good work. Media has many things good to do and has many good things to provide you and many negative things to do. But this is what source is known as. That source is the only thing which impact and give a hard influence to do what you want to do. The source is the main thing, and media is the source.
Dhruti.
Yes, you mentioned in your speech that about recent Nupu Sharma case, that it was a negative, it gave a negative impact to the society, or a hard impact. But don't you think it also gave us an awareness that we shouldn't unnecessarily get involved with political things? Don't you think so?
exactly, we got to know about many cultural things about that, but happened to the society, like violence, murder cases, and all that. That is what media told, na, that the other society is abusing and using abnormal words for your society and your culture. This is what created violence for each other. There is nothing positive we got. It's like that most of the people will see that someone is abusing their culture tradition, but no one will see that what happened and what actually she wanna tell, that she's telling about one culture, but what people see that she's defaming their culture. Negative things always give a hard impact.
Thank you. We'll go ahead with the next candidate, who is Yashi Singh in favor of the motion. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, adjudicators, fellow participants, and the audience. Today, I, Yashi Singh, representing Uttar Pradesh, is going to speak for the motion of the topic Media is an effective tool for influencing the society. Media is known as the watchdog and the fourth pillar of the Indian democracy. In the fast moving lives of the people, evenings in India are the time when family unite and watch news headlines and have their own long discussions over it. According to a source, nationally, over 100,000 registered newspapers and periodicals are published as of 2021. Based on the news from these newspapers, the people form their respective perspectives and their stand over a particular topic. The media play an important role in the democracy and serve as an agency for the people to gather news for them. With such mass reach of electronic devices and internet, mass media has become even more powerful in influencing people, propagating agenda, and providing information to people, or even misinformation. Placement of one word in the headline can lead to riots or can stop them. Such is the power of media. Media can topple the government, can make or break the society. At the end, I would like to assert that ethical standards and moral accountability of media should be the most non compromisable aspect of the whole news and broadcasting ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have Ansh Yadav.
Okay, so you said that media is a part for democracy, which supports democracy. And do you really feel that, so a clause under 42nd Amendment Act, which was secularism, so media isn't protecting that? When you talk about the recent case of Muslim girl students who wear burqa, okay, so they aren't actually allowed to even study if they're wearing burqa. So don't you feel that media is somehow kind of adding spices to it and kind of promoting just Hinduism a lot and kind of sidelining somewhere Muslims, the minority, the biggest minority of India?
Thank you for raising that question. In answer to this, I would like to tell that this burqa news which you read on the internet, it is a medium from which you got it. It is a part of a media, and this information, if it made you think it that way, that media is spicing, the Hindus are spicing and Muslims should get their right, then don't you feel that there are many other people who can interpret it their way? Democracy does not just take a single stand. It states that it is open for all the stands, and media has its influence in as far as it is responsible for various decisions, but at last what is truth, that will only be the final thing that will impact.
Since no one is asking questions, can I again ask a question?
No, sorry, Ansh. Who else wants to ask a question beside Ansh? Seeing none, we'll go ahead with the next candidate, Darshita Joshi, against the motion. Go ahead, Darshita.
I operate under the assumption that mass media will never be accurate. It works with the objective of simplifying and exaggerating, which is exactly what Walt Disney told his cartoonists. Good evening, everyone. I'm Darshita Joshi, and today I'm going to express my views against the motion. Firstly, I would like to argue that media shows a picture-perfect image of the world, which is far from the reality. Increased digitalization has enabled people to access various social networks, meaning that what is being viewed, shared, happens in a matter of seconds. This easy access leads to the spread of hate, violence, and unrealistic body image and unrealistic body expectations to be spread daily. Secondly, media increases the risk of cyberbullying and cyberstalking. Today, every 7 minutes, a child is bullied online. Unfortunately, only 4%. Yes, I repeat, dear audience, only 4% of these cases are ever reported. Thirdly, media can be extremely addictive. If you're not sure whether you're addicted to social media, try remembering the last time you went a full day without accessing any of your social media accounts. And if tomorrow all of your favorite social networking websites disappeared, will it make you feel sad and depressed? I'm sure, dear audience, most of us here would agree with these statements, as this is what has become the reality. At the end of the day, these websites want you to keep scrolling because of their attention economy. To reiterate my point of view, any sort of technological advancement has both its pros and cons. While media may have its benefits, it also provides platforms for exclusion, hate, and can be a harmful weapon for spreading misinformation. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Thank you. We'll have Shalini.
Okay. So, hello, Darshita. My question to you was, you said media is bad, right? It had more negative influence. But do you know the movie Kashmir Files? After 25 years, it finally got released. Without media, we wouldn't even know what happened to our ancestors, to the Brahmin Pandits. So we wouldn't know anything that happened in the Kashmir except the people who underwent all the terrorism. So you, me, and no one knows about it. So don't you think media is kind of effective over here?
I totally agree with your point, but as you know, there are both every coin has two sides, both positive and negative. While we got to know about the Kashmir Files issue, there were also many controversies, and the media was also spreading false information about the topic. So, and there were also many riots, as you know. So, it may have been positive, but also there was certain negative aspect to that point.
Thank you. Abhishant.
Yeah, so in your speech, I think you implied that if you cannot go one day without social media, that means you're addicted to it in some sort. And I do not agree with that because you need social media for day-to-day activities. Like for example, if nowadays schools they have groups like WhatsApp groups, other Facebook groups to share notes and other informations. So if we do not use social media in that way, then it is not possible to stay without it. So I would like your thoughts on that.
So what I meant by being addicted wasn't that, like, I totally agree that we need social media to some extent, but there are people who use social media constantly for hours and hours without stopping. So what I meant is that social media can be used in a better way, and instead of using it for, entertainment purposes. Thank you.
We'll have Yashi Saini.
Easy access to information through social media, doesn't that make us more efficient we have ever been? Doesn't that make us more knowledgeable we have ever been? And about the fake information which spreads through social media, it is our belief in what to trust and our belief what not to. If something seems a lot more sus, then we can definitely look forward to it and see from credible sites whether it is true or not. So social media and easy access to information makes us more intelligent.
It does make you more intelligent, but also, as you mentioned, that there are many false websites who share misinformation. Now, while we are already wise enough to differentiate between what is right and wrong, there are also people who cannot differentiate and who believe in these things. So, yeah.
Can we have Virinder?
Thank you, ma'am. So, Darshita, you mentioned that in your speech that opinions and views are transmitted in seconds. So, I'm not seeing how this is related to speech because, according to me, this is what it is encouraging opinion making. So, like, would you care to write a letter regarding the recent Agnipath scheme? So, would you care to write a letter to government about your view, or you would like to email or support the group on internet?
What I meant by opinions and views are being spread in an instant is that people are reacting to it directly without checking whether the information is right or wrong. So that way people already, like, people have preconceived views, but also they're already assuming that something is right or wrong, and it can also be false.
Ansh Yadav?
Okay, so my final question is that when you are using social media such as Netflix, you know for sure you will like using Netflix or binge watching Netflix other than this news channels. If you're a mental patient, open the news channel and your mental condition will deteriorate forth. Okay, so what's your like opinion on like binge watching something when you are depressed, okay, such as when you see Gully Boy, you get an inspiration, right? Always media isn't bad, it can also be used for inspiration. Can you please answer that question?
I believe that it totally depends on the person what he or she wishes to watch. So, like, if you want inspiration, then you can watch programs like that, and if you want more knowledge, you can watch shows and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Hargun Kaur in favor of the motion.
Yes. Good afternoon, Namaskar and Sat Shri Akal. Today, I, Hargun Kaur of Grade 10th J of Springdale Senior School, stand before you to speak in favor of the motion, Media, an effective tool for influencing the society. Media, which is much more than just an information passing tool in the 21st century. From shaping opinions to awareness, updating with current scenarios to everything. Our beliefs about certain things, our choices of political leaders in an election, aren't they slightly directed by media? The medium of media provides us with so much. Didn't it give a voice to the voiceless in the Jessica Lal murder case? The coverage by media pressurized the government to take a second trial and ensure justice for Jessica Lal. During the COVID-19 pandemic, didn't media give us information about the cases, precautionary measures, and the shortcomings? And also, media also guides us in becoming us an aware citizen. For instance, the Pulse Polio program, which with the huge help of media reached to millions of people worldwide and educated them about the deadly preventable disease. Digital India campaign, which was launched in 2015 with the aim of creating a technology-driven India, was brought into limelight by media. Media also connects us with the people worldwide as we gaze upon our TV screens to listen to their interviews and to listen to people worldwide of different countries. How do we come to know about the recent protests of Agniveer? Such is the power of media that any news from any corner of the world can reach to us in a couple of minutes. With so many positive influences, how can we undervalue the media and its impact? Thank you.
Ansh Yadav?
Okay. So other than Jessica case, you should also know about the Nirbhaya case. Don't you really feel that media actually instigate people to do rapes? Somewhere they see porn, somewhere they see some obscene scene, and then they go on to like become that manly thing and just rape out a person who is so innocent.
But here the question was, what was media's impact in that? In the Nirbhaya case, mostly the media has positive impact as it showed us about the rapist and what adverse effects it had. So it did not instigate the rapes. Media did not promote rape culture in that case. But here we are talking about how media has helped in what was the media's role in that case. So rape instigation is not done by media, and basically it is about the power. So like if a person wants to rape, like how much media or how much like the obscene content he watches, it is in his mind, it is might be influenced by media but not in a mass percentage.
Talk about Bollywood songs, those glorifying things.
Shalini, go ahead.
Okay, so you were talking about the biggest example, Jessica Lal's case, right? And you said how media helped that case get into a second trial and how it helped the family get justice and all. But don't you think in some cases it also meddles with the judgment? Before the actual judge or the lawyer releases the judgment, media also kind of like wherein it shows its own point of views on the TV, which is why, and sometimes, some people like the judges and all, they get ideas from it on how to base their judgment on. So don't you think media always like kind of also does that?
I agree that media trial is a dark side of the media, but as we know India, the judiciary is independent of the media. So there are certain constitutional rules which the judges have to obey. So basically the judges also do not have to get influenced as because it is the perception of the media to spread the news and to presume, but it should not presume the assumptions, but it also tells about like the trial so that the people also come to know about it. It does have a dark side in this, that it trials and does not like pinpoint towards the proofs, but the judges have to like not get influenced by that.
Kriti Vyas.
I would like to ask that don't you think sometimes media portrays some small and insignificant issues as huge issues, which create a sensation among the masses and the public, and they do this just for the TRP? Is not that wrong?
Yes, that is wrong, but just like for the money making process, they have to do it. But right now we are like, no, that is a technology driven world, and right now there are not just one type of media which is available. We have a vast variety to choose from. So although media is accountable for their actions, it is upon our perception whether we want to choose which idea to embrace.
Birinder Singh.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, Hargun, you mentioned about that media has led to awareness of Agniveers. So, don't you think that media is one of the major reasons for the protests that are going about the Agnipath scheme that has led to the damage of more than 700 crores of railway property?
I do not believe that media constitutes a mass percentage of what is responsible for the Agniveer protests, because it is the media's jobs to present a point of view. And now basically like we live in this age that most of the news channels are going to present their view. So I don't really think media has a mass problem in this, like a mass idea in this.
Tisha.
So my question is like, right, media gives us a lot of information by updating us, right? But for TRP and such sections, they don't directly set up the questions and set up the information to us. They actually add some spices for it and make it very interesting to us. So sometimes the general public who are watching it also get influenced negatively. What is your point of view?
It is human nature, and I believe that is why the media spices up the content to attract more and more viewers, and it is the perception of the Indian audience that it is going to get attracted to that spicy news. So that's why it does for the TRP, but it is the people also who get influenced, because even if they're aware of those tactics.
Thank you. We'll have Anaika Pathak against the motion. Go ahead.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Anaika, and today I'm going to be talking about how media does not influence the public. Now, as we are proceeding forward with technology, I believe that the upcoming generation is just looking for social media platforms that they can use to voice their opinions, right? But somebody telling me that these opinions can influence them, that is something that I do not agree with. All right, now I feel like the whole concept of media influencing people is really biased, because when you see a person reading a book, you're like, oh my god, that's what he does in his free time, he's so knowledgeable. But when you see a same person, or maybe when you see a person, just scrolling through Instagram, even if he's reading a good article, you'll automatically judge them like he has nothing better to do. So why this bias? I mean, both of them are this form of a same thing, which is mass media. Now, I feel like traditionally media is not meant to communicate something that influences you in a bad manner. It is not meant to manipulate you. And if that is the case, if you feel like you are getting manipulated, then that is an issue that you need to solve for your own self. Okay. And I also feel like in today's date, media is, I'm not talking about the manipulative media houses, but I feel like mostly media is just presenting statistics to you. And if you are getting offended by that, if you are getting affected by that, then you would get affected by the same event taking place live instead of the media communicating it, because the media is just meant to be a source, because you're not present there in person. So if you are getting agitated, there's no problem in that, but you can't blame media for it. And I feel like most of the social media handles have an age limit that is 13 years. And by 13 years of age, you are expected to have a certain thought process, a certain level of thinking. And if you can't match that, then it is not the problem of the, media, the providers of information. It is you as a consumer who are not up to the mark. I feel like we as the consumers can't really play victim when it comes to the battle of man versus media. And yeah, it is completely up to you how you perceive information and what you do with it. Thank you.
Harshini.
My oh my, Anaika, there is only 5 minutes and I have so many questions to ask, so I'll just ask one. You said something about it is not our fault. Can you tell me if cyberbullying will happen offline in front of us, or if scamming or online phishing will happen offline in front of us? Because you said that had it happened in front of us, we would have still been agitated, but we are in control of our reactions.
I feel like, okay, I'll answer your question. What I tried to say was that when an event takes place and media conveys it to us, the most common, thing that comes into mind, and the most common thing that everybody is saying, is that the statistics are wrong. But I feel like if you ignore the fact that there are manipulative media houses, if you trust the statistics for once, and if that agitates you, then if that thing takes place in person, it will agitate you to the equal extent, right? And I'm not talking about cyberbullying, because that is a completely different aspect that I did not even touch, but thank you for bringing it up again. There are so many ways that you can protect yourself, your software, your devices from cyberbullying. And if you are not educated enough to know those methods, then you should probably just stay away from it, right? There's that. Thank you.
Ritvika.
Thing you said in your speech was that people don't get influenced at all by media. So I would like to ask you one question. When Radio Rwanda sent out a broadcast encouraging people to act like the Hutus to kill the Tutsis, obviously the Hutus were above 13. That you agree with? So by that time, people should have developed some kind of opinion, right? So it led to the mass murder of many Tutsis. And you would say that they were like manipulated, right? So media actually influences the people by manipulating them, because they weren't small kids that they were told to go and kill the Tutsis and they would. So they were manipulated. So they are influenced.
See, again, you just contradicted your own point. They are not small people. I mean, if they are old enough, they should be able to judge who is manipulating them and who is not. I mean, if you just blindly talk about blind patriotism, that is also done through media itself. There are a lot of people who release articles, who release news, radio, audios, and everything. But then it is ultimately up to the consumer, because not all of the audience got influenced. So if some portion got influenced, then I feel like it is the fault of the consumer, and it is you who need to be careful and make sure that you are getting influenced by the right thing. And I never said that, people are not getting influenced. Please, I never said that. I said they are getting influenced, but it is completely up to them to what extent. It's under their control.
Can we have Tanu? Tanu? Seeing no response, Shalini?
Hello, Anaika. So, in your script, I heard you saying that getting addicted to the social media, for example, the Instagram and all, is not a problem of the media. It's actually our own problem, which we are supposed to deal with, right? But don't you think the media itself is providing an option for us to get addicted to it? It should have more schemes wherein, like, if you use it for more than few minutes, if you use it for more than few hours, something happens or something, just to let us be in control. Because we as humans sometimes can get out of control very much. So don't you think that media itself is providing as an option to get addicted to it and be get into the wrong influence?
Two things. Firstly, I never mentioned that we are addicted to it because, I don't agree to that. We are not addicted to it. It's all under our control. And secondly, all of the social media platforms have a timely reminder that you can set. I have one in my phone, and you can contact me after the competition. I'll let you know how to activate it. So if you set a timer for like 30 minutes, my Instagram timer pops up, and then I can't open the application until next day. So like when my 30 minutes are done, I can't open the application. And that's there for most of the social media platforms. They do give an option. We just need to have the will to see it.
Ansh?
Okay, I would say that like social media, we do get affected. I as a person do get affected. For example, I was watching this movie Section 375. Therein, instead of showing this political agenda, they started with this obscene scenes, and I as a boy, I as a person, did got those feelings, did got those goosebumps, right? So, for example, yeah, so you do get affected, and when you talk right now you talked about this, you cannot open it, you can open it. And when you talk about being from Uttar Pradesh, when you watch porns, okay, I was reading this article and it said that the 112 sends you an notification that it's been a long time you've been watching porns, so stop doing it. But it doesn't just completely removes it, you can watch it further. So can you please comment?
See, being a boy does not really give you an excuse to get goosebumps whenever you want and watch porn whenever you want, first thing. And second thing, you should be able to have that much of self-control. I'm guessing you are above 15, 16 years of age. So if a timer comes and you are still watching it, then I think that's a problem at your end. Don't you think so? And are you not embarrassed in bringing this up right here? The fact that you cannot self-control. I mean,
In contemporary India, we shouldn't
how
be.
absurd is this?
We being in contemporary
Thank
India,
you. We'll have the next speaker as Tanisha Joshi in favor of the motion. Go ahead, ma'am. Tanisha Joshi, are you there? Seeing no response, we'll go ahead with Tanu against the motion. Are you there? Tanu? No response. Shubh, are you there? Shubh Rahul?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, what is my proposition? Favor or against? Hello?
Ma'am, I'm here.
Yes, Shubh?
Ma'am, I think Tanu is here.
Could you be louder? I can't hear you.
Ma'am, the participant before me,
Ma'am,
Tanu. Yeah, she is
Cool,
here.
guys. So if you aren't able to respond when your name is called out twice, thrice, 4 times, kindly
Ma'am,
wait
actually,
towards the end. Tanu, I can see you there, but you weren't responding. So what we'll do is we'll come to you towards the end of the. So in that case, we'll go with the next candidate, Titikshka, against the motion. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, India wants to know, but does India really want to know? What time Taimur Ali Khan went to the washroom, or why Alia Bhatt's pregnancy changes the history of India? Or does India want to know news? The real news, such as the Agnipath scheme or the Russia-Ukraine conflict without misleading headlines. At this point, Anything can be spread with just the click of a mouse, whether it is true, false, speculation, or gossip, with absolutely no proof of its authenticity. And we consider it to be the most important truth. Media is one of the most powerful entities in today's world. It has the power of manipulating the minds of the masses with catchy headlines and clickbaits. The media can very easily make the innocent look guilty and vice versa. Thousands of fake news messages on WhatsApp are being forwarded every day. This is a critical threat because it incites unnecessary violence and rage simply because of miscommunication. Fake news is more dangerous than coronavirus. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul said that the judicial institution was being damaged because of growing intolerance. All of this due to media's inability to put forward a point. Riots have been caused time and again because of the media, creating havoc in the country over a petty misunderstanding. Just yesterday, Nupur Sharma, the official BJP spokesperson, was suspended. The Supreme Court said that her loose tongue is single-handedly responsible for setting the country on fire by adding fuel to an ineffective media communication channel having a catastrophic influence on the minds of masses. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this picture. It clearly says smoking causes cancer, smoking is injurious to health, smoking kills, and yet 29% of the adult population is smoking. The media's efforts are always in vain.
Thank you. We'll have questions. Harshini?
So whether India needs to know or not, I want to know this is, while there is fake news and stuff going on, number one, what about the actual news that is being spread? So even if there is fake news that you're talking about, actual news, as you mentioned, the news channels, famous line also, isn't there viable news also passing? And number two, when you're talking about cigarettes and their advertising, right, with the restriction or warning given on top, that's not something by media, right? That is something by a private company. So how do you relate warnings on cigarette packs to media and its impact on us?
The fact that the cigarette box has the picture of lungs on it, damaged lungs on it, it clearly shows that the media is trying to put forward a point and trying to tell us that smoking is injurious to health.
Thank you. We'll have Ankita Raswan.
So right now you were saying that the damaged lung picture. How do you know that? How can you say that the advertisement or the picture is from the media, or the media is portraying, or media has shown that picture?
The brand of the cigarette that is showing the picture of the damaged lungs is using the box of cigarette to put forward a point. So he is using that box as a medium, which is media.
But we are diverting from the topic. The topic is about media influencing. How is cigarette in it?
The topic is about media having an ineffective communication and it influencing people. So it is failing to effectively communicate its point.
We'll go ahead with the Yashi Saini.
Yes, again, I would like to put forward the point that, the other fellow mates said. You said that the cigarette box is somehow part of media, and it portrays something wrong. Yet, a lot of people are addicted to it. It is a company which is making that box. How can it be relatable to media? Company and media are totally two divergent things.
Ma'am, please pay attention to what I'm saying. I said that the brand of cigarettes is using the box as a medium to put forward its point. Therefore, it automatically becomes a part of media.
That's not how you define media. Then your definition is wrong.
Media is a medium of trying to tell the masses something, to put forward knowledge or information.
We'll have Tisha Bhandari.
So my question is, you are saying that the secrets warning by the medias are only the veins, but it's if we talk about it, then is it not the public's opinion? Then they are giving the warnings, but if they are, but if on the point of view of them, if they are not following it, what's the problem of media?
Because maybe the way they are advertising it is effective enough for them to want to smoke it every day.
How can you? How can you make that effective?
I'm sorry.
How will you make that effective?
Can you please be more clear?
You are saying that media is not effective enough for that secret warnings and that stuff. So what do you think they should do?
All right, in that case, we'll go ahead with the next candidate, Tisha Kaushik, in favor of the motion. You may go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so I will start. Good evening to one and all present over here. Myself, Tisha Bhandari from Gujarat. As we know, many things influence people's life, but nowadays media influences people's life the most. Whether it's television, radios, or newspapers, it has a huge impact on society. It has the capacity to shape our ideas and beliefs of mind. Yes, it's on media only from where we get a lot of information, keeps updating us and inform us what's going around the world. Primarily favorable position of web-based social networking is that you refresh yourself from the most happening recent of the world, and you will get stored. We can also get some inspirational stories from those social networkings where which can be very useful for the teens for now. It teaches an innumerable things and even serves some great opportunities by just swiping our phones and from the whole of the world.
Thank you. We'll have questions now. Ansh Yadav.
Okay, so you say that media is not effective. So so don't you really feel that it's the diligence and the opinion of the people when one is not getting affected by seeing that lung getting destroyed, but is getting affected by those rights and the information, that rumors? So it's don't you think it's all about the people? They are not seeing their profit, or sorry, they are seeing something that can affect you. Yeah.
Wait, I said that media is effective. I said to motion.
So even if it is effective, how come, for example, she took the
No
example.
cross questioning, guys. Ankita Raswan, go ahead. No response. No one else wants to question. Cool. No issues. We'll go ahead. Ansh, you've already asked a question. So in that case, we'll go ahead with the next candidate, Puranjani, against the motion.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Before she starts, can you please tell how many more participants are left?
We have around 10 participants.
Okay.
Yeah. Puranjani, are you there? Seeing no response, we'll go ahead. Harshini, in favor of the motion, please go ahead.
Hi, can we start it over again? Because I just got to know that I'm for the motion. I'll just collect my thoughts. Yes. Yeah, you can start. So I'll cut straight to the chase because let's face it, we've all watched at least one video about the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. Do you think that Johnny abused Amber or did Amber abuse Johnny? That aside, is Rasgulla from Odisha or from West Bengal? Do bell bottoms actually look good? While these are seemingly important questions, the question we need to ask ourselves is how much of our opinions is based off of stuff that we see from media? Almost all of it. Because 78% of the total population directly or indirectly get all their information from media outlets, out of which 62% of all adults get their electoral news, who to vote for, who should represent them, from online media outlets. Media is having such a profound impact on entertainment, work and recruitment, connections with people, and more. In a fast-moving world like how it is right now, I believe that we need media in order to propagate diversity of opinions, finding out all points of views, and making better judgments on certain topics. With all of this said, marketing and advertising has also been hybridized with demands of the people. Now, it is not the knife that is bad, it is the purpose that the knife is put to that is bad. And I believe that the knife that we have in our hands is a valuable one. If we are trained to use that knife, it can be put to valuable use. With that, I say media is an effective tool for spreading of news, an effective tool for positively impacting the society. Thank you.
Ansh Yadav.
Don't you really think it did just manipulate, which is not actually positive? So when you talk about these election and this information, when you go to the ground level in the villages, most of the people do not have that source of information, right? They are reliable on TVs, wherein when I saw during this election period, I saw that 70-30% ratio, wherein 70% of the advertisement were by BJP government, whereas 30% maybe all other parties together. So didn't they manipulate it in the wrong way?
Manipulation is something that is unavoidable. There is no one size fits all approach. It is not an ideal world. However, had there been no media outlets, they would have been blinded by bribery or getting a mixie for a vote, you know? In that way, media is educating people on who could be a better leader, regardless of the party.
There is something, dignity comes, the bribe and all.
Exactly.
Darshita Joshi, go ahead.
Darshita.
We know that media plays a very crucial impact in influencing how a person views certain aspects and values of life, and one such aspect is gender roles. For decades, media has been depicting a very androcentric view of the society in various adverts and movies. So don't you think this is affecting the masses in a very negative way and is reinforcing gender stereotypes?
I don't see a direct relation between, I mean, in the end, correlation does not equal causation, right? So I don't see a direct relation between gender stereotypes and media, right? Media is just a medium, as somebody else also mentioned. Media isn't actively promoting that men should be better than women, right? It is, while there is stuff like, I do not deny, there is stuff like, women not getting as much awareness as they should. In another way, media is also an outlet for empowerment, for Me Too movement and stuff like that, right? So it's a double-edged sword. Only 2 questions? Damn. We have 3 minutes more, please.
Seeing no more questions, we'll go ahead with the next candidate, Ankita Raswan, in favor of the motion. Go ahead, ma'am.
Ma'am, some people have raised their hands.
Apologies, but they raised it really far. If they have a question, they can raise it before your speech end or during meanwhile the time others are asking the questions. So bad luck. Ankita Raswan, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, ma'am. Whoever controls the media controls the mind. A very good evening to one and all present here. Myself, Ankita Raswan, from Christ the King Convent School, Sujanpur, Punjab. And I am going against the motion. Media is an effective tool for influencing society. When it comes to our union, social media acts a powerful tool for communication. Sure. But it has so many negative impacts, such as there are bullying, there are cyber crimes, people get depressed due to media because it has such negative impact on some people. Like if we are hearing some news, like earlier there were a defamation case against Johnny Depp. So earlier we used to believe, because of media, we believed that Johnny Depp was beating Amber Heard. But after that, when it came to the reality, we get to know the reality when he put the case. Earlier we didn't know about it. So media does affect people in a very both senses, both in negative and in positive, but there are negative impacts more rather than positive. Even if we can see the positive also, but negative, I guess, in case of media, overpowers the positive impact. So I rest my case with this thing that yes, media does overpowers and influences our society with its thoughts and with its every situation of very controlling it or making a statement. Yes.
Thank you. We'll have Ritvika Bagchi.
So, Ankita, you started off by saying that social media has always created a negative impact on the public, but that's not always true, right? Because if we see, there are many talented people who earlier did not used to get a chance in the industry because they did not have any political or economic backing. But now, with the advent of social media, by showing their talent and if people really like them, and with the support of people, they're able to get a chance in the industry. So, it's not that always social media is on a negative side, it is also creating some positive impact, right?
But I did not think social media has a negative impact on people. Like I said it on the basis of like when it comes to media, when there are certain things that we say about certain people, like we given statements. That is what I feel like which is wrong. Otherwise, it is helping many people to get out of their shell and make them proud, make them their self, their identity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Puranjani.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I was speaking from my side, but I think I was not audible.
No issues. You'll be given chance towards the end. Tanu.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tanu not audible.
Yes, ma'am. Like Ankita, you have said that cyberbullying is depressing people. Sorry, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible. Go ahead.
Okay. Ankita, you were telling that cyberbullying is depressing the people. So, don't you think that it's upon our mentality how we take their comments? For example, like people are always spreading hatred about Narendra Modi. So, do he also feel depressed? No, na. So, it's up to our mentality.
I guess what you have a very good point of mentality, but at the very same time, many of the people get depressed because of it because they were from their own point of view, they have some things like, am I doing it correct or am I being here correctly or am I doing it my ways? Why are they not liking me? Or they have some doubts. We cannot be like you always have to be the positive one because we are human beings. We get affected by the negative things, and yes, media does affect a lot of people, lot of children like my age. I also do get affected when people say like, when somebody else or comes on me and says to my Instagram account that you are not the nice person, you're giving any abuse or something, it does affect me. It not dependent on the my. Am I audible?
Yes. All right. Yashi Sani.
Yeah, so I think a person would bully you or harass you only if you post something. If your account is private, then nobody would, mind saying something to you. And why are you posting? Because maybe you want fame, maybe you want to earn. And that's where another point rises, that social media is a platform which creates an opportunity for you to earn. and you can become an influencer and earn in millions. And a lot of people dream of doing that, so it is definitely creating opportunities for people to become rich. So I don't think so it has a lot of negative impact on people.
Agreed. What else should I say? You're not asking a question, you're just giving a statement.
All right, in that case, we'll go ahead with the next candidate. So, thank you. We'll go ahead with the next candidate, Abhishant, against the motion. Are you there?
Yeah, so I'm against the motion.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Respected Speaker, Sir and Madam. Today, I, Abhishan Manas Barua, will speak against the motion on the topic Media is an effective tool for influencing the society. Media is a big part of our lives. However, this does not mean it influences society positively or effectively. There are three primary reasons for my argument. Firstly, if the media is really influential, the world would have been a much better place compared to what it is now. We have seen headlines condemning crimes and terrorism all the time, but there hasn't actually been a decrease in the number of violent crimes against humanity or public property. Even now, as the Russia-Ukraine war rages on, we see numerous articles and social media posts chastising Russia, but it has not stopped them from continuing with the war. The second reason is that every media house or writer and editor has his or her own agenda. Thus, we will be bombarded with many different opinions on the same issue, and in the end, it fails to make an impact on an individual. It just leaves people confused about what to think. And thirdly, people have become smarter to believe into media stories any longer. In recent years, fake news and propaganda have increased to a great extent just because it is easier to share them. Many people have realized this and are hence skeptical about the news put out by the media. This has decreased their influence to a great extent. Here I would like to quote Robert Bresson, the famous French movie personality. Cinema, radio, television, magazines are a school of inattention. People look without seeing, listen in without hearing. I strongly believe these arguments make it clear that media is no longer an influential part of a society and is not contributing to effective society building. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Abhishant? Yes, Ansh.
You said that it is not actually nowadays influential. So is it why these riots, is it why these protests are matlab, are being so much glamored or glorified?
I'm sorry, could you?
So I just wanted to say that you said that media is not effective nowadays. Is it why in India the protests and riots are on its peak? Since they are just promoted so much on social medias.
Yeah, no, I agree that media has a role to play on these, riots and everything. But media does not show the whole picture most usually, and so there might be different perspectives, and people are just going with one perspective and not getting the other one. So that's it.
So doesn't that show the effectivity of the media?
Anyone else?
No, it is ineffective, right? Because you're not getting all the perspectives.
Cool. With no other person willing to ask question, we'll go ahead with the next candidate, Swara Rajesh, who will give speech in favor of the motion. Swara, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Today, we live in a society where information is everything. It naturally shapes the fact that we live in a society which is very active. Now that we think of it, media is a very effective tool for us. Why? Because it is a strapping tool of communication and connectivity. The media plays an active role in social and personal life. Societies depend on mass media like anything, and they need mass media for everything. A program that has worked through media is very important, especially for the development of an individual, social, and national brands. But at the same time, it also encourages them to commit shocking crimes. Certainly, media has the power to change people and social capitals. In the present time of media globalization, media is the backbone of social growth, where everything works due to information. It is the media that brings all types of changes and makes according to the public opinion. It creates awareness deep in public. Because of these media roles, it is very important and hence the fourth pillar of democracy. In a country like India, where illiteracy rates and poverty rates are so high, the media plays a very important role as it brings the journalism in front of us and it helps the public to act, react, and interact. It also gives opportunity to educate, inform, and re-inhabit the people's minds. For the illiterate people, it helps them to explore the world of knowledge and knowledge. Now, the information being provided by the media is not always accurate, and hence it leads to dangerous repercussions. For example, if a dangerous opinion is spread in the public, it creates a mass opinion such that the opinion planted by the public creates. I'm so sorry. An opinion can have a large effect on the public because the public has the power to change the society in a way which is positive or negative. As after all, it is an impact. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have Yashi Saini.
So you mentioned something within your speech that it allows the citizens to, get to know about the problems going on in the country, something like that. I am tracing it inaccurately, but something like that you said. About that, I'd like to say that the famous news channels in India, like the Aaj Tak, ABP News, and all that, they conduct debates on their channels. And about those debates, I have a few statistics which I would like to present. I believe there's a really famous news channel, Times Now, or Nav Bharat, which is like the subtitle to it. I don't know what that is. Which is hosted by Navika Kumar. Recently, or the sum of all the debates they have had in recent days, they have had 68 debates, and out of those 68 debates, 29 were related to communal issues, 13 were for anti-opposition, one was for Pakistan, and there were no debates for inflation and unemployment. They just don't find it entertaining enough, and they never raise up those points. And same is the case with other news channels. Aaj Tak, they have had 88 debates, and out of them, none was for inflation and none was for unemployment. So I don't think so that it helps in portraying the right thing. It just, expresses the things which are spicy and which are, entertaining. It never just picks up the things which should be relevant to that day.
Okay, thank you for your question. You are talking about how the media focuses on things that they find are important and do not talk about things that are unimportant. Was that your question?
If they focus on the things which are unimportant and they're not focusing on the things which are important, like inflation, which is going on right now, the rates are going so high, and unemployment, which is a really big problem in India, they're never talking about that. That's what I presented through the statistics.
Okay, thank you. So what I feel that whenever someone talks in a debate, even if they are talking about unimportant things, they're still causing an impact on the society, no matter how small or big it is. Because after all, an influence is an influence, no matter whether it is positive one or a negative one. Eventually, I feel that the debaters will come to the important points. But if they feel, as you said, if they feel that the topic is spicy, they will focus on that one first. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. We'll have Disha Bhandari.
So you mean that they will focus mainly on the news which are like more spicy and get attracted by people, but to inform, like to represent such topics are also important. So don't you think it is wrong? I mean, they should focus on that.
Your question is not clear and neither is your voice. Could you please repeat that for me?
Okay, you are saying that they do make some topics which are spicy enough to get people's attraction, right? So don't you think, but they should entertain such such news like for poverty, like she mentioned?
Thank you for your question. I feel that what the news does is not in our hands, but it is for certain that it causes an influence on the public. Because even if, suppose you feel that the news channel is talking about some unimportant topic, so it's causing an influence for you to think that it is important, right? It is a debatable topic. You can think that it is unimportant for you, but at the same time, someone else can think it is important. So after all, at the end of the day, it is causing an influence.
Paridi?
So I wanted to ask that you mentioned that sometime media post information that has dangerous repercussions. So don't you think that this is in a way ruining the society because dangerous repercussions, like there may be some means negative consequences which are not good for the society. So how
You're
in this
right.
way?
Yeah, thank you for your question. You're right. There will be negative consequences, and which is, I think, the point of the debate, that the media is effectively influencing the public, no matter whether it is positive or negative. Since it has positive repercussions, negative repercussions, so sorry, it has an influence at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. With this, is Pranjani here? Pranjani, could you please respond? Hello, Pranjani?
Yes, ma'am.
You
I'm
have the floor
audible?
for the next 2 minutes. You'll be speaking against the motion.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Shall I? Everyone is comparing lives on social media and wants the perfect body, perfect image, perfect outfit, perfect life. We're striving for this perfection and it's so unhealthy because there's no such thing as perfection. Good evening, one and all present here. Myself, Puranjani, student of class 12th from Stalwart's World School, Amritsar. Today, I'm going to exhibit the negative influence of social media on society. There is a strong connection between social media and body image issues. Social media, while on the one hand offers many avenues for networking, it has brought the pressure to look good, get thousands of likes, positive comments on various platforms. This can affect the mental health of many young people. The majority of people who have body image issues are the ones who compare their pictures with those posted by others. The assumption to look good on social media has become a disorder in itself. It's really important to understand everyone is a human. No one wakes up every day like a supermodel. Remember an important adage. You should not judge your everyday life against the highlights of someone else. Surround yourself with the people who love you for who you are. And you don't need to care about the fake Instagram beauty. Remember, social media should improve your life, not become your life. Thank you and have a nice day.
We'll have questions. Ansh?
I had this question that you said that everyone wants perfect body, perfect shape, but there are certain celebrities in Bollywood itself who promote self-love. What do you say about it?
There are many people, no one is similar, right? There are many people who promote self-love, but on the other hand, there are many other people who don't understand this thing. The youth of today is comparing each other. Like my friends, they are putting a post and they are seeing their followers. They are in run to promote their followers.
Thank you. We'll have Ritika.
Yes, Paranjani. So you started off by saying that people are comparing themselves with others, but isn't this something which is completely dependent upon us? I mean, it's completely up to myself that if I want to compare myself with Alia Bhatt or something. Social media is not doing anything here. Even if social media was not there, the people would find some other way to do this, right? Like if I just see a more pretty girl going by, I'll compare myself. So here I don't need social media to compare myself. If I'm insecure, I'll feel insecure with social media or without social media.
Yeah, I agree with your answer, but the thing is, today's generation is like social media is promoting this thing. Basically, people are getting more, like people are comparing more through social media. What I want to say.
We'll have Virender.
So, Puranjani, you mentioned in the beginning of your speech that there is no such thing as perfection. So, should we like just stop with this thought? Should we like just stop going to gym? And I think girls then should stop doing makeup because there is no such thing as perfection. We are humans. We play the best of us to make ourselves perfect, and it can't happen that we think that there is no such thing as perfection and let's become obese and let's eat chips and go to cinemas.
Sorry, I don't want to say that. The term for perfection is different from best. You do your best, but you can't be perfect in something. You can be good in something, but there is difference between good and perfect. No one is perfect in this life. The only one who is perfect is the Almighty God. To be perfect, there you need to fulfill all the traits. Not only you need to fit yourself, but you need to look good, you need to be like more intelligent. All the things must come in perfection.
Tanu.
Ranjani, you have mentioned that we all are comparing our lives. So, do you think comparing is always having a bad side? It can also be having a good side. Like, if we compare ourselves, so we can think that I should be also should be there at this place. So we also get inspired by comparing ourselves.
Sorry, your voice was cracking. I couldn't understand your question.
I'm telling that you told that comparing is, we all are comparing ourselves. So I'm telling that comparing is always at a bad side. And what if we compare ourselves and think that I should be also at this place? So it would be inspiring to us if we compare with others.
To some extent, if you're comparing to yourself, that is another thing, right? Comparing with other can lead to something, a kind of dissatisfaction in you also, by looking that that person is going to heights and I'm like, I'm here.
Shalini.
So my question was also similar to the same thing because, as you said in your speech, that media only influences people negatively. That some people see the Alia Bhatt pictures and all. They are like, why can't I be like that? But why can't a person take it positively? You know, many people I've known, they got influenced by media, and from 150 kgs, they suddenly reduced. They were physically motivated. So, what do you say about that? Do you still think that media is a bad influence for those kind of people?
Media is not only a bad influencer, it is a positive influencer also. It's good that people are losing their weight by putting a role model, but majority of people, I'm saying today, it's not only some people, majority of people.
Thank you. So now, Shobh, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Tanu, are you there?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, Shubh this side.
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead. You'll be speaking in favor of the motion.
Okay, ma'am. Greetings to one and all present here, and thank you to the host and respectable judges for having me as a speaker in today's debate. I would like to start by saying that when we mention media, we are not only talking about the social networks and the news, but also about the ads, flyers, articles, magazines, television, broadcast, and many other forms of it. With so many outlets to information, all of them carefully deployed so that no person misses it, we, as humans, have constructed a strong tool, the power of which is only waiting to be channeled. This brings us to the topic of our debate, in favor of which I will be speaking. Browsing on social networks, reading internet articles, watching debates on various news channels is how modern day ideas and opinions are propagated, and media plays the key role in doing so. To better understand how media plays this role, let's take an example of people in politics. The first few sources a person will look through when they want to form a concrete political opinion is the news. Some might even go to the internet to read articles about the subject while also taking part in respective forum discussions. Others use the power of social networks. Social networks, with their huge amount of users, serve as a medium to propagate different conclusions and perspective from a lot of people, which adds a diversity to the subject and also creates a sense of importance and meaning to it. This example proves that media itself is effective, but it is the influence of it on society, right or wrong, correct or incorrect, or good or bad, which makes the difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Shubh? Harshini?
What are your views on the propagation of opinions in the Capitol riots in the US?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? Which
Your
riots?
view on how people gained movement for the Capitol riots.
The Capitol riots in America, yes. A
Yes.
lot of people had a few opinions on it. Some Trump supporters were supporting it, whilst other blaming the Republicans for not keeping the peace of the nation and raiding
No, I'm
such
sorry, how it came about. How it came about. My bad. Apologies.
how it came about as in I'm not getting
How it gained the support of a huge number of masses through media.
Yes, of course. The lot of Trump supporters possibly came to it. There were many articles which were leaked after the Capitol raid, which came forward with evidences that this was planned months before it happened. On Discord, on Twitter, and a lot of people even planned leaking and doxing others that were against the movement or possibly found about the plan. This is a negative impact, yes, but as I said in my speech, the media is effective. It is the influence, good or bad, that makes all the difference.
No more questions? In
I
that
think
case,
everyone's getting tired. It's been a long journey.
yeah, in that case, we'll go ahead with Tanu. Are you there? Last call for Tanu.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Go ahead. You'll be giving your speech against the motion.
Okay. Every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, and a social media overreaction. Greetings to everyone, respected jury members, and all other participants. Today, I, Tanuja Verghese, is here to express my views against media as an effective tool for influencing the society. The term media has become a part and parcel of our everyday life. It is an online platform for social interaction and gives a sort of emotional support by virtually connecting with so many friends. But do so many friends really exist in our lives in real sense? The answer is no. The presence of virtual friends gives an illusion of getting connected to a larger social life, but doesn't give an effect in reality as a means of social support. There has to be an actual social support, not virtual, to keep up the friendship. The most crucial effect of the media is on the mental health of the user. In the present scenario of the nuclear family, where family members have hardly any time to spend with each other, a sense of loneliness tends to develop, especially among kids and teens. So they try to find a solution in media, just like drugs, which might have some fix for everything. This brings an unhealthy cycle of coming back to media again and again, but getting more frustrated. Another aspect that comes to the picture, I think media has totally destroyed our lives, totally destroyed our generation's ability to be truly happy, as it is training us to compare our lives with others instead of appreciating everything we are. No wonder why everyone is always depressed. In today's world, media is the most powerful entity on the earth. It has the power to make innocent guilty and guilty innocent because it controls the minds of the masses. So it's in our hand to take control of our mind because media can persuade, influence, manipulate, and pressurize society emotionally, mentally, and physically. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Tanu? Kriti Vyas, go ahead.
Don't you think that media also acts as a very good platform to express ourselves, which is very important in a democratic country?
Her mic is on.
Yes, you're muted.
Tanu, you're muted. Tanu, we cannot hear you. In that case, we have to move on. I
Sorry,
guess
ma'am.
Tanu.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
actually, there's a big network issue. I don't know what's happening. And actually, I'm living in Rajasthan and in Rajsamand district, and you know the situation here. So it's a big problem of network. I'm so
No
sorry.
issues. No issues. You can ask the candidate to repeat. Kirti, could you repeat your question?
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
I wanted
Please.
to ask that how
Any
would
question?
this that media provides a great platform for the citizens of a democratic country to express themselves. So don't you think it is very good in that sense?
You are right, Kriti. The media is a very big communication platform, but many conversations or arguments are very controversial, which raises some community rights. Like, for example, recently the example of Nupur Sharma, she stated a sentence about the Muslims, and all the Muslims went against it, and they also tried to they also threatened her to that they will kill her, and they will, and also in Udaipur there was a murder case, and also in Amravati, Maharashtra there was a murder case due to this. So it's a communication platform, but sometimes it's a due to controversial argument, it is harmful for all of us. Am
Thank
I
you.
audible?
We'll have a... Yes, you are. Shalini, go ahead.
Yes. So, hello, Tanu. My question for you was that I heard you mention twice that you came from a place called Rajasthan, right? So, don't you feel like media is actually being helpful for you
I'm
in a
sorry,
positive
you
way?
are
Because
audible.
I'm not audible, is it? I'm sorry. Okay. So, now can you hear me properly?
We
So,
can hear you, Shalini.
okay. So my question for you was that you
Yeah,
said
of
you came
course.
from a place called Rajasthan, and here you are participating in such a national-wide competition. So don't you think that media has helped you in a positive way? Because in your speech, you've only been mentioning that media is negative and it has only negative influence. So what about this situation right here?
Tanu, are you
Now,
there?
actually, Shalini, you don't know what the situation, and actually, I'm sitting in a cyber cafe where again and again Wi-Fi is hacking, and you don't know that how am I connecting, and I know my voice might be cracking due to because of this network issue.
Thank you. We'll have Dhruti.
Yeah, adding to Manaswini's point, the whole
Am I audible?
Dhruti would ask next question.
yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Adding to Manaswini's point, we're able to conduct this online
Shruti,
debate.
can you please repeat?
Sorry?
In that case, there's a lot
I'm
of
not getting
network
it.
issues, so we'll go ahead with the next candidate. Tanisha, are you there? Tanisha Joshi. Seeing
I'm
no
not
response.
getting it actually. I don't know. You have network issue.
Tanu, we are done with your argument round. Thank you. So with this, we have. Is there anyone who's left?
Excuse
Last
me,
call.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, my name is not Shalini, ma'am. It's Manaswini. I've been hearing many people say it wrong.
Because you have joined through a device which shows Shalini.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can't remember your name in a day. Yeah. Seeing no one else is left, we shall dissolve the competition now. So host can stop
Ma'am.
sharing the screen.
Ma'am.
Yes, Yashi.
Ma'am, I'm Birinder and left. I think Ansh is also left.
Virender is left.
Yes, ma'am, I'm left.
Let me check.
Yes, Birinder hasn't spoken.
Okay, ma'am. That's
Birinder
what I
and
was
Tanisha. Birinder and Tanisha, two are left.
Yes,
Tanisha,
ma'am.
she hasn't been
Tanisha isn't
responding.
responding.
Yeah, Birinder will listen to.
Cool, guys. Virender, you can go ahead.
Well, it is said that media is like a fire in a forest. It can get to places one doesn't even expect. Good afternoon, good evening, one and all present here. I am Birinder Singh, a 10th grader from Springdale Senior School, and today I am here to present my views in the motion of the topic, influence of media on our daily life. So media influences the society on all the channels it has, and the consumer is the one who accepts or decodes this information. Media has had a great influence on the society since the 1700s, which has led to many wide-ranging impacts. On the individual level, the effect of media when the promoted values and opinions converge makes the individual adhering to the message an evident thing, especially regarding the youngsters and especially in the entertainment domain, or can make the individual assimilate the behavioral values and models transmitted by media and to use them personally. Besides, media has also impacted our species as a whole. The efficiency of disease and pandemic awareness departments has escalated by more than 270% since the past century, only and only due to media. The 7.9 billion people across the globe were made cognizant of the COVID-19 pandemic and the respective preventive measures through media only. In the recent years, media has been broadly associated as a platform to develop social norms and etiquettes. According to a Harvard study, social media use is widely associated with social well-being, self-rated health, and mental health. Nowadays, various international organizations and government agencies use media platforms to enhance their capabilities in crisis. Speaking of now, media is ranked the foremost effective resource in disaster management and awareness. In conclusion, media is a tool, and the same tool that can cause a negative impact can also bring about positive outcomes. For what is wanted is what is given. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Virender? We'll have Ansh.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Virender actually mentioned. Virender, you mentioned that the species are becoming extinct because of media. So in the times,
Can you
like,
repeat?
there is impact on species, right? You mentioned that. So in the times when dinosaurs got extinct, there was no media. Okay,
No,
then Harappan
hey.
civilization, it got extinct. There was no media.
I use species as another word for human beings. For us, it impacted our species as a whole, Homo sapiens.
Okay, so I would give you.
Aaron, you are raising your hand.
Yes, ma'am. I had a question for Birinder. My question was, how exactly does
Could
social?
you tell me your real name first?
It's Aryan Chaudhary.
Just let me check if there was any RN, because there's no RN in our list, ma'am. Is it?
No, we don't have any Aryan.
You haven't even spoken RN.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I had
So
some network connectivity issues. Sorry.
you have joined just now, I believe.
Exactly.
So in that case, how shall we consider you? Your name is neither in the list.
We won't be considering. If anyone else is asking question, then we can go ahead.
All right, in that case, we are done for the day, guys. I hope everyone is done. So cool,
I
congratulations
want to
for
say
making it.
something.
Yes, Yashi.
I don't know if I'll get another chance saying it here, but Harshini,
But
I loved
switch on
your
your video
personality.
first.
I've never met a person.
Switch on your video. That was the request from the very beginning. Each and every person who is speaking must have the video on. Yeah. Now you can
I
convey
wanted
whatever
to
you
say
want.
that Harshini, I've never met a person like you. Your personality is really great, and thank you for being the
Thank you
part of
so
this
much.
debate.
Exactly.
Even I
Oh my
wanted to
God.
say that.
I
Oh my
also agree.
God.
Such a nice soul.
I love all of you guys. Today was amazing, especially though there were some controversial topics. Damn. Thank you so much,
Even
all
I
of
wanted to
you.
mention that
Like the way you,
speak and
like the way
the
you
kind of
express
sense of humor
yourself,
that you
your
have, that
You
attitude,
are very great, I actually feel. Yes, you are.
your
Thank you
respect,
so much. Y'all are making me shy,
and your
bro.
respect very much. Beautiful.
But you are very great.
Thank you. I hope this had been offline. I really wish it was offline. I have no.
Same, same.
Yeah,
This is
you would
so
have recorded.
sad.
It's a
Ma'am,
Yeah,
offline,
you
I would
have.
have
I
won.
wish I could meet you personally.
Oh, some of you must have won offline, is it?
brag about your this appreciation by the whole this meeting.
I think, does ma'am want to say something? Thank you so much.
Exactly. It has been a long session.
Others,
We all are ready
Ankita,
to
you were
dissolve it.
also.
So I think Kuvidhi, any last words you have to say before we close the session?
No,
Ma'am,
ma'am,
I
I
just,
think we delivered all the general education and the children did really well.
Yeah. They
ma'am, I
did
just wanted to
really well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
So guys, could you please switch on your camera for the
Ma'am, I would like to tell one thing. I really love the topic today and the competition, and it's the first time I've been participating here, and I really love my opponents. I really enjoyed myself today.
I swear. I love you guys.
Ansh, did you have your turn?
sorry.
Did you have your turn today?
Tom, I can't hear you actually.
I'm asking, did you have your turn today?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't pay attention.
Wow, that was so sad of me.
No, maybe at
Such a
that
good
time he was
comment.
focusing more on his turn.
Yes.
Well,
No,
I
you all
wanted
spoke
to ask you a
really
lot of
well.
questions.
I was
Well, be
looking.
prepared for the nationals.
He wanted to vent out all whatever I asked my opponents. Yeah, he wanted to vent out everything on me.
We could easily see that.
I also wanted to say that the session was very informative and encouraging, ma'am. The host and the judges, they were really kind to us and they never discouraged us for our mistakes, ma'am. So it was really
Yes.
nice. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
It
ma'am.
is lovely listening
Thank
to
you,
all
ma'am.
receptive learners.
Thank you,
First
ma'am.
of all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. All the best in life.
guys, could you please turn
Oh.
on your for a picture?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, my camera's not working.
No issues. We don't need everyone.
Ma'am, one more question. Harshini, you're from which state?
I'm from
Which,
Karnataka. You are from?
my God.
Oh, wait, what?
I'm safe for the national level.
Wait, which state are you from, Ansh?
I'm from Uttar Pradesh.
I have a feeling Ansh and I would have vibed offline, but sad that we are from different states.
I request the Bal Education Trust to take the picture and let us know when it's over. I think it must be done. So cool, guys. I'll take a leave and all the best for your national level.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
mom. Thanks, everybody.
you,
All the
ma'am.
best in life.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
I'm winning nationals.
Yeah, that.
It's meeting nationals.
Yes,
Bye.
meeting nationals.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See you again in nationals.
Same.